It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Paris Martineau is here from The Information. Jeff Jarvis from CUNY. We will talk, of course, about Apple's AI event on Monday. I think they did quite a deft job of making it look like they weren't playing catch-up. Speaking of catch-up, Joey Chestnut, the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Championship in a scandal, plus Elon Musk and why he'll never let you use your iPhone at Tesla ever, ever, ever again. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig.
This is Twig, episode 772, recorded Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. The Mystery Bucket of Gummies. It's time for Twig This Week in Giggles. No, I'm sorry. This Week in General. No, I'm sorry. This Week in Google. There we go. The show we cover giggles, general stuff, and Google a little bit. Paris Martineau is here from The Information. Hello, Paris.
Hello.
Bonjour, Paris. It's great to have you.
Bonjour, Leo.
Bonjour. Jeff
Leo.
Jarvis is here. Yo, Jeff. He speaks
Yo.
Jersey.
Boss.
You
You got a problem with that?
Yeah. How you doing? Hey. He is the emeritus Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of Coral Works. No, of New York. Pardon me. Hello there, you two.
Hello.
Missed you all week long.
Yeah.
What do you think? So AI is one of the things we cover a lot on this show. A lot. And I think it's because it's currently the most interesting thing going on in tech. And there are many AI stories, but I was just curious if you, either of you paid any attention to what Apple announced on Monday and what your thoughts were on it.
I was waiting for you to tell me what was.
Well, I'll tell you what to think, but
Paris, what about you?
what about you,
I mean, I
Paris?
think it'll be interesting. This will be probably, when it rolls out, most people's first interaction with ChatGPT or a large language model. And I think that in and of itself is important and worth kind of taking a look at. I mean, I'm not certain that it's going to be transformative. I could be wrong, but I feel like people already are primed to not use personal assistants like Siri that often. But hey, maybe this could be the thing that makes the switch.
One of the things Apple did that was interesting, unlike both Google and Microsoft, is they didn't promote the chat, the back and forth talk at all. In fact, they didn't even say AI at all for the first hour and a half of the 2-hour event. But what they did do in the first hour and a half is show new features of iOS 18, Mac OS 15, iPad OS, and Watch and TV OS that, anybody who knows what AI is up to would recognize as AI kind of things inside, and then not a two-way, not the generative chat that we've come to expect from OpenAI, but something in some respects more subtle and perhaps even more
like what
useful.
Google's been doing all these years, in a way.
Yeah,
right?
in fact, that's what Apple said at the very beginning. After they did an ad for Apple TV Plus, Tim Cook said, "We've been doing this all along, and this is nothing new for us. But we wanted to show you some interesting things. But it is true, Apple, before anyone else, put machine learning hardware into their chips, the Apple Silicon chips. They're way ahead of everybody else with that. Windows stuff is just coming along this week. And they've done it for a long time. The thing I thought was, so I'll tell you what my basic takeaway, which I mentioned on Windows Weekly with Paul and Richard earlier today, is that this was the battle of the marketers. We should be very clear about that. This isn't necessarily talking about what's under the hood or whether it's better or worse or whether it's more or less secure or private. But clearly, Apple won the battle of the marketers to the point where they rebranded artificial intelligence as Apple Intelligence. It's still AI, but it's not artificial. It's Apple. And
Well, we could be alphabet intelligence. Let's try that.
Too late.
True.
Too late. They blew it.
Too late.
So I think
It's
the
the
only
house
reason I
that
say
hyped
that
it.
is none of this stuff is really available yet. It won't be till, in fact, it won't even be when it ships iOS 18, for instance, in the fall. It'll probably be the end of the year, early next year before some of this even appears. But they focused very much on stuff you would do, benefits to you. And they did it in, I thought, a fairly clever way. For instance, one of the rumors we'd heard is Apple was going to finally put a calculator on the iPad, which is hysterical.
Ooh.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right. It's just, oh, great. Thank you. Let me see if I can find it. But what
How had that not happened before is my question.
everybody wants to know.
What was stopping them from putting a calculator on big iPhone?
Exactly. But they did something very clever.
They did.
Let me see if I can pull it up, the video, because it's very impressive. They started with the calculator, just like, and they said, look, bigger buttons. We're all doing that. And then they said, and there's this secret drawer here, and they pushed it, and they showed us this video, which was a hand-drawn illustration of projectile motion in table tennis, where the calculations were handwritten, but then you change a number, and just like in a spreadsheet, the other related numbers change. They even showed this slider. They showed how it could generate graphs from handwritten calculations. And furthermore, they said that just the answers will be in your handwriting.
Wait, how?
I'm glad you asked. Apple Intelligence. That's how.
Oh,
Spy,
of course.
privacy.
That's how. Sorry.
What's
Rookie
hysterical?
mistake here.
What's hysterical is the Newton tried to do this 20 years, 30 years ago, but they actually are doing it now. So I think this is very interesting. They also showed how in Notepad you could take handwritten notes. It would clean them up slightly. It still look like your handwriting. If you use generative AI, let me see if I can find this somewhere. If you use generative, here's the cleaning up thing. If you use generative AI to insert something, see, it's cleaning it up so you can read my handwriting, but it still looks like my handwriting.
Oh, boy.
I mean, that's okay. You say, oh, boy, but that actually is non-trivial. You can cut and paste into it in your handwriting. You can do spell check in your handwriting.
Have you seen
can
my
move-
handwriting? I don't
You
want
can
my
move
handwriting.
paragraphs, and if you do generative AI, the text it generates will be in your handwriting. You cross out stuff. This is, I think, a really
That's so interesting.
so. This is to Apple what Apple AI is not having a nice chat with a virtual assistant that doesn't sound anything like Scarlett Johansson. It's these kind of quality of life things. I think that was very smart. And again, I should mention, in my opinion, this is the battle of the marketers and how you position it more than it is the actual underlying technology. But still, if you're going to get people to accept AI, this is a much better way to do it.
Man, this makes me want to get an iPad to try this out, not because I think that I would use it, just because I have kind of schizophrenic handwriting in the sense that my handwriting at all times is a combination of an all cap style handwriting
too.
plus cursive plus lowercase.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as to what Apple would derive from that, because my ease could look a variety of different ways. Which one are they going to choose?
Well, the proof will be in the pudding, right? I suspect it's not gonna
I
be
think
as
that this is
great
one
as
of
it
these
looks.
things that you're going to want to wait and see, because it'll make some. I'm sure there are going to be mistakes. There's always mistakes or strange quirks with these technologies, and I think that this one will be really fun to watch.
I agree 100%.
Paris, have you ever played with a Newton?
No,
It
the
came
atomic.
Came out before you were born. It was a
1993.
handheld device.
I put up video of a demo. It's
Yeah.
pretty. It was trying to be way ahead.
This is
But
what
it's-
Apple was trying to do with the Newton way back when.
Yeah.
Which is ironic. I had many Newtons, and I really liked the Newton. In fact, I was one of the few who thought this has a lot of promise. And I even have a video clip somewhere of me saying, you pair this with a cell phone, and maybe you have something here.
glue them together. Yeah.
Guess that's kind of what they did. Where'd you paste that video? I'd love. Is it?
It's in the Discord.
In the Discord.
You just got to scroll because they're so active in the Discord. They keep on, they push my stuff up with their Newton cookies.
Stop pushing his stuff up, man.
Yeah,
Here's the
leave my
Newton message
stuff.
pad demo
scroll in the
from
middle.
1933. It practically is 1993. Here, we'll go back.
That was it. That was it.
There was a
Right.
famous Doonesbury cartoon for the Newton showing its handwriting recognition. Here it is. In which the user handwrote how many newtons does it take to screw in a light bulb, to which the answer was farm, which kind of said it all about the Newton's handwriting recognition. Let's see if we
You got to scroll forward a little bit, Leo.
One of the things
There-
that Newton
there-
did is watch when he scribbles
Here.
it out, just like we just saw on the on Apple Notes.
Watch this. Watch this now. This is funny.
It turns it into text.
There, got it. That's
I
how we
love
keep
how
going.
bad this person's handwriting is.
Right. And it doesn't the Newton sort of did it all right, but look at that was 30 years ago, right? We've come
It
a
also
long
had
way.
a different way to draw alphabets, right, Leo? Remember that?
That was graffiti. That was for the Palm
was graffiti,
Pilot. The
right,
Newton
yeah.
used regular text.
That's
In
right.
fact,
That's right. Graffiti. Yeah.
that was the kind of insight that Jeff Hawkins at Palm had was, oh, no, you can't. The Roman alphabet is too ambiguous. You can't use the Roman alphabet. A computer won't be able to understand it. So he invented a slightly modified alphabet called graffiti. But, hey, come up ahead 30 years and we can actually do this finally.
yeah. Yeah.
So in a way, Apple's living up to its promise. This tells you a lot about technology. It takes longer than one thinks. I thought Apple did a really good job, and I think it's an important lesson for us as we talk about AI to understand that Apple said, don't show this. For instance, one of the issues with AI is image generation, right? And getting in big trouble with generating images that are controversial or, I'll put this in air quotes, woke. So Apple is going to make an image generating program, not Midjourney, not Stable Diffusion. They call it Image Playground. But the images it generates are very cartoony.
That's a limited use.
They're emojis, right?
Well, it's not just emojis. It's also drawings, but they're very.
This is the creepy mother image that they displayed during the keynote, right?
I don't remember the
The image of, I believe the text on the screen was like someone texting their mom, and they're like, oh
yes.
you're a superhero.
That was a memoji, yeah.
Yes.
But they're also like this. This is a pair of dice. It looks more like a pencil sketch. I think they're hoping this will be safer. Tim Cook, in an interview with the Washington Post, said, look, we know it's not going to be perfect. We know hallucinations will happen, but we think we will. I'll never promise you it won't, but we think we've done a very good job in making it safe.
Yeah, but by limiting it so much,
by limiting
that
it,
it's far less useful.
But that's the
Yeah.
way. Well, is it yet less useful? I don't know. I don't know.
If it's again as a creation tool, I think it is. And I think there's all kinds of power there. I saw an amazing tool yesterday called Wave at the Bertelsmann Investment Conference, where a really good comic book illustrator showed how he could train it on his own style, then draw a character, and then it would improve it, and then he could improve it in turn. That's the kind of power you want to have on an iPad, because it can do it. There's nothing stopping.
Do either of you guys use an iPad?
Yeah, I do. I have them
What
all.
do you use it for?
Nothing.
Well, I know you have everything.
iPad is, I use it, what do I use it for? FaceTiming. I think I might use it more for notes now. I have the iPad and the Apple Pencil. By the way, when you add that all up with the keyboard, you're spending laptop prices, thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
But this is Apple's kind of bizarro world laptop. It's its own operating system. It's different than Mac OS. And for some reason, they're maintaining these two tracks. But here's an advantage that Apple does have, unlike any other manufacturer. They're using the same chips in the iPhone, iPad, and Mac. So, for instance, when the game company Ubisoft ships its new Assassin's Creed program, it's a very popular video game, it will ship it on iPad, iPhone, and Mac OS at the same time as it ships it on Windows, because it's one chip. It's basically one foundational system.
Even though the OS isn't the same.
Well,
The
but that's
underlying
the OS is only what we see. Underneath the hood is still
Right.
the same technologies. So it's very easy to make it for all three.
So, Leo, going to your point about marketing, I was puzzled because the day of the WWDC, Apple stock went down, I think, almost 2%. And then in the next 2 days, it's gone up something like 9%.
Right.
It's like the market said, and then somebody said, oh, I hadn't thought of that.
I wonder what caused that. Have you seen the speculation online that it's from someone said that it started to go up about a couple minutes after Stratechery posted a positive thing of it, which
Ben
I think
Thompson's
is
fever
absolutely
dream.
ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I even predicted this on Sunday. The day before the Apple announcement on Twit, you can go back and look at the tape. I said, this is a big challenge tomorrow for Apple. They have a very narrow row to hoe here. They don't want to look like they're just doing Me Too AI stuff.
Right.
Which, in fact, they are. I mean, they're just catching up with Pixel and Google's Gemini and Copilot. I mean, they're just kind of basically catching up. You know, the things they showed, for instance, creating text or correcting your text in your text editor is exactly what Microsoft does with Office and exactly what Google does with Google Docs. It's literally no different, probably even using the same LLMs. So they don't want to look like, we can do that too. They want to look like they're innovating. But at the same time, they don't want to run the risk that Wall Street has punished Google for of being too risky. And I think they threaded that needle perfectly when Wall Street was watching. This is always the case, and I even said this on Sunday. The stock price will go down because that's how it works. You buy on the rumor, you sell on the news. The news is the Apple event. There's going to be a sell-off, and we were watching during the Apple event. It would go down a little bit, then would go up. It would go down a little bit and go up. But I did predict, this is the Apple event right here, somewhere in here. I did predict that it would, in fact, be a huge boost to Apple, and it was. It was their biggest day yesterday since 2022, and they had another big day today. They are now, market cap is $3.26 trillion, which beats everybody. It's the number one. And they were, by the way, behind Microsoft and NVIDIA last week. Why were Microsoft and NVIDIA so high? AI. The market is booming for one thing only. I don't know if it's the wisdom of the crowds or the foolhardiness of the crowds, but the market says, oh no, the upside on AI is huge. You got to do the AI thing. So Apple, at first they looked at it and go, oh, come on, you're not doing, you're not ChatGPT 4.0. But look at what Google did on Google I.O. Look at what OpenAI did at ChatGPT 4.0, where they're talking to the thing and it's talking back. And then look at what Apple did, which showed you real concrete uses, maybe somewhat trivial, but still genuinely valuable concrete uses for AI. And I think the market is saying, oh yeah, Apple aced it. And I think I agree. I think Apple did it.
Yeah, but the market also buys Apple's BS pretty easily.
The market, again, foolhardiness of the crowds as opposed to the wisdom of the crowds.
It is the house that hype built.
Right.
And
the market loves nothing more than an event that should have been a press release.
Yes.
Microsoft, by the way, had a little bit of a boost from the Apple event, too, because I think people said, oh, they're using OpenAI. They're using ChatGPT. They're going to be using Microsoft Azure. But see, again, Apple did it very smart, I think, wisely, even though Elon's reaction was really out of control.
Yes.
But Apple said, if you ask Siri something and she doesn't have if you ask Siri to tell your kid a bedtime story, Siri will say, who'd be good at this? ChatGPT. And then says, would you like me to ask ChatGPT? And then unless you affirmatively say yes, it won't send it to OpenAI. Furthermore, Apple says we're anonymizing it. There's no IP address information going to OpenAI, and they are not using anything you send it for their own generation. So they've got to deal with OpenAI, I think, to do that. So in effect, they're sanitizing OpenAI and getting the same result back as ChatGPT 4.0.
I'm curious, is there an option to say, actually, I want all of my Siri requests to go to OpenAI and
No.
ChatGPT, or do you have to? So there's going to be that stopgap in every.
You're going to go to Siri
request.
first. I think eventually you'll be able to choose models. Right now, it's only OpenAI, but we know they are talking with Google about Gemini, and maybe they'll have a switch. That's it. But I think they want you to use Siri first. And this is what Apple said. whenever we can, we're going to answer your AI requests on device with our models on device. Not, by the way, not anybody else's models, our models on device. If we don't think we can do it on a device, you don't have enough horsepower. And by the way, they say this requires the current iPhone or later. You can't do this on an iPhone 14. If we can't do it on device, we will send it to our private cloud running Macintoshes, running our processors privately. It does not go out in the regular world. It's encrypted in transit. All of this is a lot of hand waving. Maybe it's not as secure and private as they say, but this is what they're promising. So it'll privately go out to our servers where we'll handle the request that has to be done in the cloud and then send it back to your phone privately. This didn't stop Elon Musk from really losing it.
Ballistic.
He as soon as this was during the Apple event, he said, if Apple sends stuff up to GPT, we are going to ban iPhones at our company. Here's the tweet. It is patently absurd that Apple isn't smart enough to make their own AI yet is somehow capable of ensuring that OpenAI will protect your security and privacy. Apple has no clue what's actually going on once they hand your data over to OpenAI. They're selling you down the river. And then in a subsequent tweet, if Apple integrates OpenAI at the OS level, then Apple devices will be banned at my companies. That is an unacceptable security violation. And finally, visitors will have to check their Apple devices at the doors where they'll be stored in a Faraday cage.
No, in microwaves. All microwaves.
Completely losing it. First of all, they're not building ChatGPT into the iPhone at the operating system level. It is not there at all. It'll offer it and you can use it. By the way, I can do that right now with my iPhone, as you've seen me do, by pressing the action button and running ChatGPT's own app. It's available on the iPhone, as is Google's Gemini Plus or Ultra, I think. So I think Elon's just being Elon.
Why did he drop the suit against OpenAI?
That's a very good question. I do not know.
To avoid discovery.
At the same time he's going ballistic against OpenAI, he's dropping the suit against them.
Benito says, and I think he's right, tomorrow was discovery.
and thank you, Benito.
A lot of lawsuits do not survive discovery.
Especially a lot of Elon lawsuits.
So let me find the story I bookmarked on this because I think it talks about the timing.
This is from the AP. Most legal experts said Musk's claims centered around allegations of a breach of contract, breach of fiduciary duty, and unfair business practices were unlikely to succeed in court.
Yeah, it wasn't a strong case because there was no written contract. He's saying they violated their agreement not to be for profit, et cetera, et cetera. But I think what he was really worried about. And by the way, Sam Altman produced these, his text messages and so forth, back and forth with Sam Altman, saying, just give me the company, I'll run it. And things like that. And, it's going to cost billions of dollars. Remember, we read those text messages a couple of months ago. The hearing was scheduled for today. He withdrew his lawsuit yesterday.
All right.
Hearing was scheduled for Wednesday in San Francisco, in which the judge was going to consider whether the case should be dismissed as requested by the defendants, OpenAI, Altman, and Brockman. I think that he did not want to be embarrassed by that, right? He did not want to be embarrassed by a dismissal. You think?
So, he dismissed the case without prejudice, which means he could refile it at another time. So it's kind of I'm going to take my toys and go home.
It's more like, you can't fire me, I quit.
Yeah.
He filed the suit in February. I think I think most legal experts I heard said, it's no case. This is silly. This is, a nuisance suit. It's Elon. Anyway, from the AI, desk, I think Apple's announcement was cagey, well-timed, and very cleverly targeted to walk that line between, we're just copying everybody else, and we've actually got AI, which they do.
But is there anything that's that changing?
No, it's not.
Nothing.
No. Except, here's the thing, and Fast Company pointed this out. What's really, the whole point is that, as Oprah said, 1 billion phones in your pockets, y'all. It's that Apple has such penetration with their iPhones that it's suddenly putting the hands in AI of some sort in the hands of people who've been hearing about this but haven't really tried it. Normal people.
But will they know that they are using AI?
Well, I think, use that notepad. You'll go, wow, that was cool. I mean, it's pretty amazing. But I think Apple would say it doesn't really matter if they know. If we are making a better product that serves people better, it gives them the things they need, then that's all that we ask for. I think
I would say in the vast majority of in the cases we're describing with Apple using artificial intelligence to power ancillary products like, turning your handwriting into a font or whatever, someone doesn't need to know how that is happening. They just need to enjoy it. I think it gets a little bit more different when you're talking about like a large language model that's going like a generative AI.
But that's a distinction that we know, but regular people don't know or care about.
Yeah, and I think that this is part of the reason why it's good that the integration of ChatGPT requires a user to say, yes, send that query to ChatGPT. Even if they don't know that that's AI, they'll know that it's something that's not Siri, and that's all that matters.
I think it'll be attractive to people. They'll feel like, because Apple's built up over years this trust with people, trust that Google once had and has pretty much frittered away, trust that Microsoft never had. They have all this trust, and people will say, oh, yeah, if I'm going to use AI, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do the Apple way. I think that's what the stock market's saying, is this is a very smooth, elegant play for Apple for the mindset of people. And it avoids all of the AI stories which we're about to tell about, simple tasks showing complete reasoning breakdown and state-of-the-art large language models and all of that stuff. It's not going to come up.
The AI layometer. You walk on the beach.
My beach walk guy? No,
Yeah,
Apple does not ever say AGI or imply anything like it. Mm-hmm. Very smart.
Do they say Apple general intelligence?
No, they say Apple intelligence. And when you say Apple intelligence, it makes it, by the way, this is why Steve Jobs named the company Apple. It's kind of homey and friendly and down, what could go wrong? It's Apple.
It's an apple. It comes from a tree. Who would distrust that?
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's the big news in AI this week. And if you contrast it to Microsoft, Google, and OpenAI's announcements in roughly the same time frame, this is what Apple does so well, right? Nobody says, before the iPod, there were plenty of MP3 players, or, before the iPhone, there were plenty of smartphones. They don't remember the predecessors. They remember, there were tablets before iPad. There were PCs before Mac. Apple is not an innovator in that regard. The Vision Pro isn't even the first crappy head computer. They wait, and then they think in their mind, and I think they're probably right in many cases, do it right. And it's not always the case.
Suave.
They're suave. That's the word.
Okay. One side note, what do you guys think about Apple's announcement with regards to the redesign of the home screen and all the weird, wacky things you can do with it? Because I think that's a little less suave. I think that Steve Jobs would roll in his grave if he could see any of these today.
Well, it's pretty funny because, as you well know, this is stuff Android's been doing for years.
Oh, yeah.
This is like, in fact, if you were an Android user and I said, hey, you know what you can do? You can arrange your icons now on the iPhone and even leave gaps. They go, and? Well, we couldn't do it for years. We couldn't do it. Oh. Hey, you know what else we can do? We can make all our icons all the same color. Uh-huh. People aren't really going to remember all of that. I think if you're an iPhone user, you'll be glad because it is a ridiculous limitation of the iPhone.
I do think, though, it's interesting from a kind of conceptual take, this decision, because it then opens up people making choices that are bad or having
Ugly.
Bad taste, as
Right.
people are wont to do, which I think is
Desktop
part of the
publishing.
distinction of what you had between iPhone and Android
Well,
for a while.
it's
Is
very
everybody in
famously-
iPhone world was locked into one look.
It's very famously why Apple has never allowed us to have our own watch faces on the Apple Watch because they say, "Well, you don't have any taste. Let us. We'll do it for you." That's always been their attitude. You're right. And now you can have, and frankly, the examples they showed were ugly as sin. Like a yellow phone screen is not, to me, particularly appealing. But yeah, you can do it. I don't know. I don't have anything to say about that. That's just. If you care about all that stuff, watch Mac Break Weekly, iOS Today. We have shows.
I was going to say
that.
we're intruding on someone else's turf.
Well, it's like if you're into the Apple ecosystem, you care a lot about this. Everybody else is like, I'm sorry, what?
You got a life.
You had an announcement. You actually recorded an announcement announcing that you can move the icons. Wow, it must have been a slow day at the Apple farm. I think Apple is very smart, and they have very cleverly positioned themselves. Not to look like they were playing catch up, right? But that they are right there. They are leaders in AI. And this is what they've done historically every single time. Clever. They're clever, if nothing else. And I really, the reason I said it up front, and I really believe it is, this is all just marketing at this point. They haven't produced anything we can try.
I think if Google had announced absolutely everything Apple did the exact same way, everybody would have yawned and said, well, Google's lost their mojo. They just aren't doing much.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's also reputation. It's not marketing so much also as marketing past and reputation.
But also remember that Apple did it in a very slick, pre-produced hour and a half, 2 hour event with fancy transitions, and everything was just as is usually the case with Apple, perfectly, precisely, aesthetically honed. And Google famously, just throws a bunch of spaghetti against the wall, saying, "What do you think now? You like me now?" Let me take a little break.
Neiman Marcus versus Walmart.
It is. That's a good way to put it, and I think in many ways it is very much like retail. It's just marketing. Yeah. It's just a different, it's a different color on the same widget. Our show today, we'll take a little break, come back. We want to get Paris out of here in a couple of hours, so we can't do our usual 5-hour program today.
I will say, this is actually misinformation. Next week, I have a hard out. Today, I can go as long as we want.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Hallelujah! We got as much time as we want.
Let's strap in. We got a 24-hour pod going on.
Get ready. It's the
Hope you have nowhere to be.
Gorilla.
This week in Endless. Our show today, thank you. That's good to know, Paris. Next week, I'll be brief. And also, of course, Jeff Jarvis. Good to have you both. Our show today brought to you by...
He's also here.
Also, this guy.
By the way,
I don't know what his...
Can't get rid of him.
I don't know what his deal is.
Bad penny. He never leaves.
No. Jeff, this is as much your show as anybody's. This is the Jeff Jarvis show. Really?
No. I was just thinking, I want to say it again. I've said it before. I was just thinking, honest to God, 10 minutes ago, how damned happy I am that Paris is on this.
Isn't she fantastic? Not to
Paris is the greatest.
Gina Trapani or Stacey Higginbotham.
We've always had great,
her predecessors.
Paris stepped in and just did a wonderful job of
I think
making fun of Gramps. And
if there's one thing I think I do pretty well, it's picking hosts. And of course I do it with a lot of help, but from our team, but including my Lisa, who's brilliant, said, Paris, absolutely. Let's get Paris on.
Yeah. Because Paris brings real expertise, real reporting, and a great personality.
Yeah. Paris is the best.
With a sense of nihilistic irony.
Yeah. I was thinking really what this podcast needed is a deep nihilism and fear of the unknown and known.
You're the Nietzsche of podcasting. I think that's great.
That's what people tell me.
What is it? What's whatever podcast is too long, as long as it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely what they said that about.
I think he said that, didn't he?
Whatever podcast doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Makes you stronger. That's
Somebody's
right.
got to make a Nietzsche, a impersonating Nietzsche podcast. That would be kind of great.
Wow. If anybody, it'd be Paris.
Really good.
Be you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, where was I? Oh, yes. Our show today We do have a cheerful nihilism sticker already from Joe. Thank you, Joe. It's all pointless, says Paris, so let's go play skee-ball.
Let's.
I think that's very good. I like it.
It's the perfect image, too.
Yeah. She looks like she's thinking about skee-ball.
But
always
about to
am.
mock somebody, yes. It's yes.
Our show today brought to you by Melissa. We love Melissa, the data quality experts. They've been doing this almost as long as the Macintosh has been around, since 1985, almost 40 years now. Melissa has helped over 10,000 businesses worldwide harness accurate data with their industry-leading solutions processing over 1 trillion addresses, emails, names, and phone records. See, the truth is, the heart and soul of your business is your list of customers, your list of suppliers. Those addresses, that data is so valuable. And here's the thing, it's going bad all the time. People move, phone numbers change, emails shift. Melissa can help you, can fix all of that. In fact, they have so many useful tools. They've just introduced the Melissa Marketplace, where you can explore a revolutionary data ecosystem that offers premium tools and services for technology and business users alike. Apps and services in the marketplace include business mailing lists and sales leads, where you can maximize your direct marketing, telemarketing, and email outreach efforts with quality business mailing lists and sales. They have global address database information. It contains accurate and detailed listings for every address. I mean, globally, 240 plus countries and territories. I didn't even know there were that many. They'll do zip star data. This saves you time and improves data entry accuracy by instantly verifying a 5-digit zip code at the point of entry, and so many more. You'll find them in the Melissa Marketplace. Their global bureau services are ideal for enterprise businesses looking for a trusted service provider. Melissa can help you clean and verify existing customer records, eliminate duplicate customer records for a single view of each customer. You can have it any way you like it, too. On-prem, in the cloud, a SaaS app. They even have a secure FTP server you can upload and download to. And, of course, an API, a really great API, that means you can add all of these features and services to your software. So your customer service software, your shopping cart, that kind of thing. Melissa has 99.99% uptime. So you never have to worry about it not being available. And you can add rooftop geocodes, country codes, demographics, and more. By the way, really important these days to know your data is absolutely safe with Melissa. Melissa's services use secure encryption for all file transfers and an information security ecosystem built on the ISO 27001 framework. They adhere to GDPR policies. They maintain SOC 2 compliance, HIPAA, HITRUST, all of that. Get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free at melissa.com/twit. MELISSA. Melissa.com/twit. We thank Melissa so much for supporting This Week in Google. That's kind of our whole AI segment, all done in one swell
there's
swoop.
There's more.
Is there more? What else is
There's
going on with
always
AI?
more.
There was a very good paper that came out this week that looked mathematically at why hallucination is inevitable. It is impossible to get rid of it. It cannot calculate to that level. And I think that's, really important. A, we hate the word hallucination. It's anthropomorphic. But B, this LLM should never be used where you need reliable data. I just haven't been this week. So now that I'm an old guy, I had to do my Medicare. And with my wife, well, how many digits is the Medicare number? I asked Google, and the answer came right up, 12.
Yeah.
Guess what? That was AI speaking right below. It was
it's wrong.
11.
Wow.
Wrong.
Where did it get that from?
It just
Well, let me read to you from the abstract. This is from the paper Alice in Wonderland's Simple Tasks Showing Complete Reasoning Breakdown in State-of-the-Art Large Language Models. It comes out of the University of Bristol's School of Electrical and Electronic
That's a different
Engineering.
paper, but go ahead.
Oh, it's not that. It's not the one you were talking
Go
about.
ahead. No, this is one of them. No, but go
It's
ahead.
a good one, and I think in the abstract, I've
They're both
learned
good.
that in these scientific papers, the abstract is sufficient for me. I don't want to. I can't really go much beyond that.
As soon as I see the equations, I'm out.
Claims of excelling in different functions and tasks rely on measurements taken across various sets of standardized benchmarks, showing high scores for such models. We've all seen it in the news. It could pass the LSATs, and, it's better than a lawyer, that kind of thing. We demonstrate in this paper a dramatic breakdown of function and reasoning capabilities of state-of-the-art models trained at the largest available scales, which claim strong function, using a simple, short, conventional, common-sense problem formulated in concise natural language, easily solved by humans. But the breakdown is dramatic, as models also express strong overconfidence in their wrong solutions, while often providing nonsensical reasoning-like explanations. Let me see if I should find the problem. This is the Alice in Wonderland problem. It actually isn't that easy. And I'll let you solve this for us, okay? This is the basic Alice problem. Alice has n, let's say n is a number, okay? We're going to use variables. Alice has n brothers. She also has m sisters. How many sisters does Alice's brother have? Okay, let's say Alice has 7 brothers.
M plus or
M-minus.
M plus 1.
Alice had, let's say I'll put numbers in. Alice has
Let
7
us presume
brothers.
that Alice uses the she, her pronouns.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Right. Brothers and sisters and so forth. Alice has 7 brothers, has 4 sisters. How many sisters does Alice's brother have? And you said it exactly right. N plus 1, right?
Yeah.
Or M plus 1, the number of
M,
sisters
yeah.
plus 1. Yeah. Because you have to add Alice into that. That seems pretty simple. But it's amazing how poorly the models did on this. And then, as if that weren't enough, they even have some more complicated ones, which actually I thought were a little beyond me. They have Alice plus and so forth. So this isn't the one you were talking about.
So I think that's great. There's another one that's like this. It says, by employing, specifically, we define a formal world where hallucination is defined as inconsistencies between a computable LLM and a computable ground truth function. By employing results from learning theory, we show that LLMs cannot learn all the computable functions and will therefore always hallucinate.
Wow.
This is by Jiwei Zhu, Sanjay Jain, and Mohan Kankanhali, from wherever they're from.
The thing I think about this is interesting is the practical implications section of the paper, which they go through and list the following implications for AI practitioners given what their study found, which is that all LLMs will hallucinate. The first implication is that all LLMs will hallucinate. And the second is, without guardrails and fences, LLMs cannot be used for critical decision making. This is a direct corollary of the conclusion above, they write. The purpose of guardrails and fences is to ensure that they operate within expectation and never deviate into harmful realities. They're absolutely necessary since all LLMs will hallucinate. The next one is, without human control, LLMs cannot be used automatically in any safety critical decision making, which is something I feel like we've heard a lot from regulators and people who speak and research about the subject. It goes on to conclude that research on LLM safety boundaries is crucial in ensuring sustainable development of LLMs.
So
And
they
our
also
discussion last week.
They also talk about some mitigations. For instance, we've talked before about RAG. They say retrieval augmentation, which uses relevant external documents to ground LLMs, can help reduce knowledge gap and reduce hallucinations. You can also use prompts to improve knowledge recall and reasoning. There are ways, in other words, to improve the result. And I found that myself. And at the same time, when I use RAG, I don't automatically assume that the answer I'm getting back is accurate.
But the guardrails, as we discussed last week, in my view, can never, for this exact same reason, can never work fully because you cannot anticipate. Just as it cannot compute every possibility, you cannot anticipate every possibility to guard against. Especially because the bad stuff is going to come from humans.
So they claim, and I don't claim the ability to judge a proof that hallucinations are inevitable. And it's a mathematical proof. So
it's a mathematical proof.
Yeah, I'll have to take their word for it. They say any computable LLM will hallucinate, inevitably hallucinate. So this is
also it. Go ahead.
There's also an interesting section in here about in defense of LLMs and hallucinations,
Yes.
which begins, although we've shown that LLMs will inevitably hallucinate, this does not undermine their tremendous value in enhancing productivity. Moreover, hallucination itself should not be viewed entirely negatively. First, the decision of an LLM to use an LLM is fundamentally a trade-off between precision and efficiency, which is largely determined by the application. It kind of goes on. And they say, moreover, it's crucial to recognize that LLMs are continuously evolving. Over time, we anticipate the nature of hallucinations will be better understood by human researchers and users. And finally, this last point I thought was interesting, is hallucination is not entirely detrimental. In art, literature, and design, the unintentional and unpredictable outcomes from an LLM could inspire human creators. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a reasonable point.
Yeah. I've said it many times. Humans make errors too. If you ask, if you go down to the gas station,
not you, Leo.
How do I get to Pittsburgh
I've
from
never
here?
made an error.
You may well get some mistake. I know I've given out wrong directions in the past by accident. Humans make more mistakes, possibly even than LLMs. But that doesn't mean we say we'll never talk to a human, never ask a human for an answer.
Well,
they're going to hallucinate. They're going to make mistakes. So I just think the mistake we make is not that we assume they don't hallucinate, but that somehow, because it's a computer, we give it more. This is what stochastic parrots was all about. We give it more weight.
Here's the difference. The LLM does not know how to know. It doesn't know that it doesn't know, because it doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
And if that skill if it could be taught the skill of not knowing and admitting that'd be great. But that presumes that it can be taught the skill of knowing, and it doesn't know anything.
I think you're mistaken in this line of thought. It assumes somehow
it's pretty catchy, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it. But it assumes somehow that we know whether we're right or wrong, or we know we're knowing. First of all, it doesn't.
At times when we don't. That's the difference.
No, that's not true. Ask Donald Trump if he's ever lied.
No. But have you ever seen an LLM say, "I don't know"?
No. Have you ever seen Donald Trump say, "I don't know"?
Well, but he's no LLM.
But I'm just pointing out, humans do the same thing. You're
Yes, but
doing
humans understand what their words mean, that they're forming sentences.
Doesn't matter.
And understand the meaning
we
they're
think we do. And
we have the skill of saying we don't know sometimes.
So
LLMs
your argument
don't have that
is
skill.
very tautological. You're saying somehow we're better because we're human and they're not.
No, I'm not saying better. No. I wouldn't say that at all. I'm saying it's a different. We're judging it on our standards, and it's different. There is a skill of knowing when to say I don't know, and the LLMs don't have that skill.
That's not true either, by the way.
Skill?
LLMs often say I don't know.
Well, when the guardrail's in there, and says I don't have current knowledge, or I'm not built to do that.
I think you're guilty of anthropomorphizing, and I think the real problem here is assuming that the human thought process is somehow magical and better than a thought process that all we can say is, well, it's probabilistic, and we don't know that we don't do exactly the same thing. We probably are completely stochastic ourselves. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's a mistake to ascribe some magical ability to humans just because we think we understand how we work.
You're overreading me. I'm not saying it's magical. I'm not saying it's even superior. I'm just saying that the reason what resonated from this paper for me is that it doesn't know how to say it doesn't know. And that's the logical conundrum that LLM builders are then stuck in. It is built to finish every sentence and to please us in the process of doing so.
I don't think that's necessarily true.
I think the problem here is that AI and human
Yes,
intelligence, this is a difference in kind, not in scale.
Yes. Well said.
Right? So it's not like
I agree.
Anyone is smarter. They just have different abilities, different skill sets, completely different. Like I would never say that an LLM is going to be like a human, or a human is ever going to be like an LLM. Like this is
right, which is why AGI is BS.
Yeah, it's a difference in kind.
Agree.
Let me see.
Count on.
Do you know my birthday?
Leo is angrily typing.
So I just asked ChatGPT if it knew my birthday. It says, I don't have your birthday noted down. Would you like to share it with me? Which I take as an admission that I don't know. Do you know Let me
Wait,
see. Give me a
if you
question.
put, is
do you
it?
know how to say you don't know?
Will it be warm on my birthday?
There you go. Will it be warm on my birthday? This is 4-0, by the way. I don't have your birthday information, so I can't check the weather for that specific day.
There we go.
I don't know. I think that's an I don't know. I'm sorry. I hate to tell you. And I don't think that
I think that it's incorrect to say that LLMs are incapable of saying I don't know. They often do say that.
That's what I think
But
too.
I think that but responding with I do not know that information does not mean that a system as a whole is capable of having an understanding of what it does and does not know. That is a skill that even some humans have significant issues.
Yes, if you ask me,
Yes.
can I get to the Triborough Bridge from the Bronx Expressway? If sometimes I might say I don't know, but I might also say, yeah, take a left on 4th Avenue and go 4 blocks and turn right. I may not know that I don't know. I know I've given people directions incorrectly and only realized it later. Does that mean that I am somehow not human? No, it's normal.
To err is to human.
To err is human. To answer correctly is AI. All right. Let's see. Did we talk about recall last week, and we mentioned that Microsoft completely backpedaled on that?
I don't think we talked about how they backpedaled, but we did talk about recall.
Yeah, they have now said, okay, it'll be opt-in.
Couldn't they have seen? I mean, anybody in the PR department could figure out, you sure we don't want to?
Well, this is kind of my point, is that Apple may not have better technology, but they sure have a better PR department.
Yeah.
They really are better at marketing. And this is where Microsoft, I think, is just lost the thread of all this. Oh, well. Are you ready for immersive phone calls?
Oh, God. What is that?
No.
Isn't the immersive is sound?
Well, let me. I don't know what it
less sound
means.
about
Here's what
phone
Reuters
calls.
says. Nokia CEO Pekka Lundmark made a phone call using new technology called immersive audio and video that improves the quality of a call with 3-dimensional sound, making interactions more lifelike, the company said on Monday.
You see, no, I want to hear, if I'm talking to you, I want to hear you. I don't want to hear the train going by.
Current smartphone calls, Jeff, are monophonic, which compresses audio elements together and makes sound flatter and less detailed. But the new technology will bring 3D audio, where a caller will hear everything as if they were there with the other person. Jenny
3D audio in a
Lukander,
movie?
president
Fine.
of Nokia, said it's the biggest leap forward in the live voice calling experience since the introduction of monophonic telephony audio used in smartphones and PCs today. Pekka called Stefan Lindström, Finland's ambassador of digitalization and new technologies. They made the call, here's the important thing, using a regular smartphone over a public 5G network.
Is Nokia still a phone company?
No, they don't even make phones anymore. They have sold off the brand to HMD, which makes all Nokia phones. I don't even know the point of this article. It's so silly. A vast majority of smartphones have at least 2 microphones with which this technology can be implemented by transmitting in real time the spatial characteristics of a call. So phones
reads
could do
to
it.
me. Are you guys familiar with the term a beat sweetener?
No, what's a beat sweetener?
No.
I like it.
It's like a sort of story that beat reporters are people who cover like a specific company or industry. You typically are going to have to publish regularly. Not everything you publish is going to be a scoop or a big exclusive or a story. Sometimes you do beat sweeteners.
It's what
which is
Maggie
a story.
Haberman is accused of doing with Trump.
Well, it's in this
it's a
case
story.
rewriting a press release, right?
Yeah, in the pejorative sense, might be rewriting a press release or doing a story that a source has maybe handed you information on that you don't think is the most newsworthy, but it's not harming anybody. Like to have a puffy piece out. This reads to me like a beat sweetener.
It's a beat sweetener for sure by Supanta Mukherjee in Stockholm. The technology, she writes, is part of the upcoming 5G advanced standard, and Nokia aims to get licensing opportunities with the technology which would likely take a few years to be available widely. Pete Sweetener,
Hey, look, I'm gonna have a dissenting opinion here because
you've got 2 ears, right?
no, and like when I'm talking,
How can
to
you hear
somebody
in 3D then?
I would rather hear someone better than see somebody on a telephone call.
Really?
What is
I'd rather
better?
have-
Define better.
Okay, so like
Define better.
when Leo got
Okay.
his Ray-Ban glasses, like the audio that came out, it
Was
sounded
better.
like it was in
That
the
sounded
room.
good. Yeah, it
and
was
if
good.
if I was on a phone call and the conversation sounded like the person was in front of me, that is better than seeing the person in front of me.
Okay,
With
wait, a
shitty
question.
audio.
Have you
With
guys
crappy
had the calls over an iPhone using FaceTime audio?
I know what
I
you're
feel like
saying.
that
Which is like it
the
goes from-
audio is crystalline
Right.
clear, and in a way that sometimes is distracting because I can like
Yes,
hear
it's too
every
real.
movement
Yes.
of my editor typing.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't need to hear that while I'm on a
So
call.
this goes back to the history of telephony. When phone calls were first, considered, they tried to figure out what is the least quality we can send down the line and still be intelligible, because even though it wasn't bits at the time, it was analog signals. They really needed to economize in how much data they sent down the line. And they determined that what is an equivalent of it's 4-bit. 4-bit audio, it's very low quality audio, was still intelligible. And so the specification for the phone system going back to the 20s was this very, very low quality. And even though these constraints disappeared over time, and it's possible we went digital and it was possible to have much better quality calls, I think kind of inertia kept these calls at the equivalent of a 4-bit audio. And so all Apple has done with FaceTime audio, and others do it with Wi-Fi calling, is say, you could have 8 or even 16 bits of audio data, and it would sound so much better. 16-bit is CD quality audio. 8-bit sounds a little scratchy. 4-bit is terrible.
But 3D. Benito,
That's just
how does? Yeah, but well, no, I know people who take it very seriously, and Benito is a sound guy. What is it about? Define 3D audio for me.
Well, spatial audio, that not super important to me. Like, it's really more about quality.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And I see
Yeah,
what
I think
you're
that
saying.
nobody's against having higher quality phone calls. I think it's a little gimmicky to try and call it 3D or pitch it like it's some huge leap.
Well, the way I saw it
I think
was
it would
like
be interesting.
was like when I tried on Leo's Meta glasses and how it was actually kind of striking how good the audio was, and it sounded like it was in the room, and that's sort of what I was thinking.
You could do a lot just by giving it full frequency. I misstated. It wasn't 4-bit audio. It was 3.4 kilohertz. The bass could only go down to 300 hertz. So you didn't really have any. It was, as you know, phone call sounds like this because it's all mid-range. But that was enough for intelligibility. They did the least amount of bandwidth for intelligibility. Add a little bass, add a little treble, add a little bit of maybe even stereo, and it's going to sound. Stereo makes it sound 3D in some respects because you have kind of more of a sound stage. I don't know how you would do 3D audio with 2 microphones. I guess you could simulate it. Video games have 3D audio, right, Benito?
Yeah,
Leo,
there's already a bunch
be
of
honest.
processes.
Yeah.
Did you in the day buy a quadraphonic system?
No, I avoided that. I think I was just a little too young for quadraphonics. Although our good friend Bob Heil, the late Bob Heil, who's did our Ham Nation show for a decade and is a ham radio guru, is also a sound guy. And he created the quadraphonic sound for The Who's Quadrophenia.
Oh.
He was the guy who gave, Roger Daltrey a joystick so he could go like this. And did you have a quadraphonic system, Jeff?
No.
What's quadraphonic?
But so remember, initially it was a single source, right? It was monophonic. And then we got stereos, high fidelity stereos with 2 speakers left and right. Thinking being you only have 2 ears, that should be enough. But then somebody said, if you had 4 speakers, you could have the sound come from behind you. And quadraphonic
And someone in the back was like,
sound-
what if you had 16 speakers, huh?
Well, it's kind of what we're doing these days. Quadraphonic is
Sectaphonic.
back. Yeah, it's actually back.
But at the same time, we go to one speaker things, right? Sonos or
Right.
All
I
these
mean,
expensive-
those
yeah,
Apple
or the
speakers
Apple
are very
and Google,
expensive,
right,
but
they're all one speaker.
they're a single speaker. They claim, oh no, but we can use imaging to make it sound like it's more full or whatever. I think
Do the
I
Apple
might
speakers do that funny thing that Sonos makes you do where it plays that weird wobbly noise
No,
and
they
you have
don't.
to kind of move your phone up and down like
Yeah.
you're praying to some sort of god?
No, they do it all automatically. They don't have any. I think you don't have to really do that. But Sonos.
I always like to. I think it's kind of fun.
marketing. Yeah, it's good.
I mean, the
We
truth
are-
is, it really depends on the room. The room is going to affect their 3D sound
Right,
more
and
than anything.
So Apple claims, because they have microphones in these devices, that they are always listening and always tuning for the room as you move around. Who knows? It's all just marketing. 4-channel sound began in the late 60s at the Eastman School of Music. The first quadraphonic recordings were often offered to the American consumer by Vanguard Records in June 1969. Even though it was called Vanguard Records, they were on reel-to-reel tape. In fact, most quadraphonic recordings were on reel-to-reel tape in 8-track. 4 speakers and a joystick.
I had my neighbor in my dorm at Northwestern, Glenn Glassman, had quadraphonic in his little single dorm room.
Oh, and I'm sure you could
ever-
hear it.
Oh God, he would blast it all the time.
Actually, and Benito, it's interesting that you Benito's our technical director and our producer. He and an audio guy, musician. But it's interesting that we've always at Twit said that the most important thing is audio. Even though we do video, the video can be less than perfect, as it was earlier with you, Paris. But if the audio is bad, it doesn't matter. If bad audio will kill whatever you're doing, even with perfect video. But bad
It truly
video
will.
will not kill a show. As long as the audio is good, we can put up with it. So
NPR, they call themselves sound Nazis.
They are, too.
I am such a sound freak when it comes to audio because I listen to a lot of podcasts and I guess shows and things like that. My biggest pet peeve is when a podcast I love has like a guest on, especially for like multiple episodes, and you can hear that they're using AirPods as they're like, I can tell the sound and I can't listen to it. It drives me up the wall. I'm like, just send them a $20 mic, guys. Come on.
Now you know why we send people Heil mics.
Listen, now I know.
Yeah, it makes a difference. And sometimes we do have people on Zoom for whatever reason the quality's not great. And, Benito will testify to this. It drives me nuts.
Yep.
I turn off my mic and I scream and yell.
Well, the real way to torture Leo, which I did many times, was to be in a hotel somewhere in Germany.
Oh, God. Notice, I don't complain about
the
you being
slowest
yellow.
audio in the world.
I complain about the audio being terrible.
Yes, exactly.
But that's-
if the audio goes, then we're going to give up.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Jeff. Goodbye.
I have to say, though, I'm a little bit less. I do more like I think video has become more and more important to me. And when you see somebody like Alex Lindsay, who gets great audio and great video, that probably is the best way to go if you can, right?
It also changes the character of our conversation, the fact that we can see each other.
Absolutely.
And this is why I actually really like Zoom now. Because
It's
so
much
used to
better.
the
We
way,
use,
and I can see the
Yeah.
small screens.
A little
yeah.
behind the scenes, we have instead of using a Zoom call. Well, I guess you would in a regular Zoom call, you'd see everybody too, right? But we use Zoom ISO. What we used to do is we'd have a different call for everybody. This back in the day, Jeff. You were on one computer.
Skype.
And
I was on another Skype.
it would be Skype, but everybody was on a different computer, and that was because I wanted to isolate the sound of each person so I could fix it if I had to. That it wasn't all mixed down together. But we now use something called Zoom ISO, which is a single Zoom call, so you can see everybody, but we still get isolated sound from each person. Although we don't use it, apparently. That was that last year. I was so upset. Last year, I was informed, we haven't had isolated soundtracks in years, Leo. We got rid of those.
You thought you were really doing something there.
What? That was the foundational principle of everything I stand for. Oh, well.
Who wants to tell them?
Yeah, I think it was very much like that. There was like, yeah, you see, and it came up because we had a show, I can't remember what it was, but one of the people on the show there was a lot of bad audio, or they were they were low, I think. And I said, well, just mix their track up. And they said, well, yeah,
Boss.
they're all mixed together now. I said, when did that happen? Oh, years ago. I said, what? See, I have this illusion, which they try to preserve, that I am in control of what's happening here. I am not. So, how about Mike Lynch cleared? This was a big story.
Yeah.
Hewlett-Packard bought a advertising company called Autonomy for $11 billion in 2011. Shortly thereafter, Hewlett-Packard realized this company was worthless. They wrote it off on their taxes and so forth. The company Autonomy was known for software that could extract information from unstructured sources like phone calls, email, or video. It was the largest ever takeover of a British technology business. The CEO made $500 million from the sale. A year later, HP wrote down the value of Autonomy by $8.8 billion and then sued. In fact, U.S. prosecutors brought charges against the CEO, accusing him of inflating the value of the firm, using backdated agreements to mislead about the company's sales.
Didn't they force cases to extradite him too?
Yeah, they got him into the U.S. That's right. Yeah. He was extradited after a UK judge ruled in favor of HP in a similar civil fraud case in 2022. HP is seeking a reported $4 billion in that case. Lynch, who was a former UK government advisor, sat on the boards of the BBC and the British Library. He was held on house arrest in the U.S., went on trial in March, was acquitted last week entirely.
The CFO is in prison, I think.
Yeah, he said, it wasn't my fault.
CFO.
I may have been the CEO, but I had no idea what was going on.
It wasn't my
I had no
flag.
idea we were doing all this fraud. Meanwhile, the CFO was convicted of fraud that evidence at trial, says the DOJ, demonstrated that for more than 2 years prior to the sale, the CFO used sophisticated accounting methods to falsely inflate Autonomy's revenues to make it appear that it was growing when it was not. Specifically, the CFO used backdated contracts, round trips, channel stuffing, and other forms of accounting fraud to fraudulently inflate their publicly reported revenues by as much as 15% one year, 20% the other year, and 21% the next.
Lynch's defense hinged on 2 points. One, I don't know what was going on. I was just the CEO. And two, it was HP's job to determine if we were worth what they were paying for it. Not our fault, man.
Due
HP
diligence. Have
overpaid.
you heard of that?
Yeah, they overpaid. They should. I think his attorney said the verdict closes the book on a relentless 13-year effort to pin HP's well-documented ineptitude on Dr. Lynch. Well, see, you were inept. You should have known it was fraudulent. Anyway, he's off the hook. And so that's a follow-up on a story we've been covering literally for 13 years. Unbelievable. Good news.
It is interesting because I feel like right now we're in this period where we've been seeing a lot of similar cases come up in the startup scene of startups that had maybe been acquired or were trying to be acquired, being investigated and sometimes having their executives convicted for doing the same sort of fraud. And people often like to frame it as if this is a side effect of the latest crazy money period in the venture capital industry when, people have been doing fraud forever.
Let me take a break, and then I will talk about a very clever trial tactic that Google just successfully used. It's good. It was good thinking up there in the Google land. But first, a word from our sponsor. You're watching This Week in Google with Jeff Jarvis and Paris Martineau. Jeff is not yellow today, so I'm happy.
No, he's a stark white.
He's just deathly pale. Yeah.
I'm just, that's what I am. I'm a ghost. I don't exist. You can put my fingers through my head, but I fake it.
Are you coming back? I heard before the show, I heard you talking Sub Rosa. You said you might be coming back out to Sacramento to testify again to the assembly.
Maybe there's some talk. Maybe, yeah. Last time I just went around door to door. This time the bad legislation, which just got worse, is coming up. Here's a funny little aside before you go to your break. So this is the legislation trying to get the platforms to pay for news, even just to read it, to access it. It's a reading tax. But I'll leave my rant aside.
The Journalism Preservation Act.
And so it was presumed to just be Google and Meta. The Meta has said, we're taking news out. We're doing what we did in Canada if this passes. The current bill specifies, hold on, let me get it real quickly here, specifies that it refers to any company with over this amount of revenue and over this many users and blah, 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 except any firm that earns at least half its revenue from, quote, the manufacturing and sales of company-branded devices and hardware to consumers. Ergo, Apple has not only good marketers, it has damn good lobbyists.
Wow. Because Apple has a very vigorous news organization. They have many hundreds of journalists working there, some of them who used to work for us. And they have Apple News, which they make a lot of money on. Wow, that's very interesting. So Apple
they just got excluded from this bad bill.
Wow.
One final thing before you go to your break, since we're talking about flights, a Twig listener added me and Jeff on Blue Sky this week asking, has a date been picked for the Twig meetup in New York later this summer?
No date has been picked. But I have mentioned this before. Lisa and I are going to go on a cruise to view the autumn foliage from New York to Montreal. The boat leaves September 9th, so we figured that week of Memorial Day, Labor Day, probably maybe the 7th, we will have a meetup. Joe, our street photographer in the Discord in the club, has said he wants to put together a photo walk, which would be so much fun. He's got a great itinerary.
The High Line. Do the High Line.
Yeah, actually, I should pull up his itinerary. Anyway, no date has been set. I guess I should get to work and do that.
Said person said he wanted to reserve a flight from Florida.
Oh my God! So what would be? I mean,
we're not worth it.
I want to have you and Mary Jo Foley and a bunch of other Twit people join us. What would be a good day? Is it too early to say what a good day would be in early September? Does it matter what day of the?
Let me check my calendar. Well, Wednesdays are always bad for me because I podcast.
Oh yeah, we can't do it. We'd have to do it on a Thursday, huh?
Podcast.
Yeah. Okay. So we're leaving on a Monday. How about Thursday? I don't know when we're flying.
We're here
out,
the 4th to the 9th. That's what I have in my calendar.
Well,
I put this in my calendar.
I don't know when we're going to fly out. I figure maybe we should do this on the 6th. How's the 6th for you?
Friday the 6th.
A Friday?
Yeah. Okay for me.
Is Friday good?
It's reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's not written in stone, but put September 6th down. Plan to be in New York. We'll find a venue. We can hang out, and Joe will take us on a photo walk. Does that work for you, Joe? Anyway, we'll consult with all the stakeholders.
There's a place in Midtown that has that's a German Hofbrau imitation.
Did they spank you? I hear that in the it's a Hofbrau.
Look at Paris's curled lip.
In Germany, it's a Hofbrau.
Listen,
but I'm hit.
Frankly, my curled lip was at the word Midtown, not the German Hofbrau.
She would rather be spanked than go to Midtown.
Listen, I'll go there for you guys. So if we're doing a photo walk, it might not be the most photogenic place.
This is the world-famous Hofbrau in Las Vegas, where they will spank you while you're eating at the Hofbrau. I just want to show you this. And if there is spanking involved, I wonder if I
Where
could,
is the spanking stuff
if I could require, I don't know, if I maybe could say, if you're a club member, you'll get to...
Oh, no, he's leaning over and everything.
You'll get to wield
she's
the
asking
paddle.
him to brace.
Oh, my God. This seems like such a bad idea. She's
so clinical about it.
Hit him hard?
She's really asking him to brace.
Why is he smiling? Oh,
well,
no.
He must like that.
She's winding up.
Oh. He's happy. He gave her he high-fived her.
I mean, that's what he came for. Oh, now his friend is.
Ja, come for the Hofbrau, the Wiener Schnitzel, stay for the spanking. This is just weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just this Las Vegas Hofbrau, but it's quite famous for. Seems like something Germans would do. I don't know. A little paddling. That'll be a paddling for you. You know what's better than getting a swift.
Oh, that was hard. You could hear that.
Jesus.
It's turning bright red. You know what's better than getting a swift paddle to the tush? Getting a Fast Mail account. This episode of This Week in Google is brought to you by Fast Mail. I ask this question all the time about, people would call the radio show and say, I'm on AOL Mail and I can't figure it. If you care about email, if you care about your privacy, why are you still using free email? Spend a couple of bucks and get a real email service like Fastmail. Fastmail is an independent, employee-owned email provider. They've been doing it for over 20 years. This morning I said hello to the Fastmail CEO, former CTO, and thanked him. I said, thank you for doing an email service that puts customers first. It offers a premium inbox experience where privacy is job one. Instead of ads and creepy data sharing, Fastmail customers get a clean interface with innovative features that value your time. Fastmail is a recognized leader in the email world. I thanked him for his contributions to open source software like the Cyrus IMAP server that they use. But he also said, and open standards. And I said, yeah, and open standards. In fact, many other email services follow Fastmail's lead when it comes to email, contacts, and calendars. I moved off Gmail almost a decade ago to Fastmail. In fact, I not only do Fastmail email, I let them handle my contacts and calendars too. It's a direct plug-in replacement for Google Calendars and contacts. You pay for free email with your privacy. Plus, you get no support, right? With Fastmail, for as little as $5 a month, you get a private inbox. You get great support. It's available in more than 20 global currencies. They now have multi-user plans, which are great for household and business. I just think this is the best service ever. I've been such a fan of Fastmail for years. I've recommended them for years, and I'm really glad they're a sponsor now because I can get paid to recommend them. The Duo plan gives secure private email to you and a partner at a reduced price. There's a family plan, too, up to 6 people. With their business plan, replace Google Workspace. Get powerful admin controls for the security and management of your company. Fastmail. They also do domains, which means you can have a real domain for your business. There's nothing less business-like than having a Gmail or a Hotmail or a Yahoo Mail account for your business. Get your business name at Fastmail. In fact, I have many domains hosted by Fastmail, which gives me unlimited addresses at those domains. It means that all my email goes into one inbox, but is easily filtered. It's just great. Now, if you want to switch to Fastmail, don't worry. It's easy to download your data. You can import it right into your new inbox, or set it up as I have to automatically go out and get my email from various accounts, put it all in the Fastmail inbox. There's no need to leave important info behind when you switch. If you like, by the way, the password managers like 1Password and Bitwarden, which allow you to have custom email addresses for every login, Fastmail works with them. So you can have unique passwords and unique logins for every account. Store them in your password manager, but all that email goes directly to you and your Fastmail inbox. I love Fastmail. I hope I've made that pretty clear. Fastmail's advancing open standards and leading industry cooperation, and together we're making email better for everyone. If email is important to you, get Fastmail. You can try it free for 30 days. In fact, you'll get 15% off your whole first year if you go to fastmail.com/twit. Fastmail.com/twit. If you ask around, you ask the knowledgeable geeks in your life, say, what email do you use? The smart ones will all say Fastmail. It's really true. Fastmail.com/twit. 30 days free and 15% off your first year. Thank you, Fastmail. Thank you, Bron, and the whole Fastmail team. It was a pleasure meeting you and finally getting to thank you in person for the good job you have done. All right, enough spanking. Let's move on. Your governor Kathy Hochul, how do you pronounce that? Hochul?
Hochul, I think,
Hochul
yes.
has said she will sign the bill to protect children from addictive recommendation algorithms. It's the SAFE Act for kids. It will stop addictive feeds exploitation, passed by the New York State Assembly. She said she'll sign it into law. By now, she probably has. It keeps platforms like TikTok and Instagram. Actually, I'm not dead against, from serving content to users under the age of 18 based on recommendation algorithms, meaning instead they will have to provide reverse chronological feeds for child users.
Which research shows is worse.
Well, this is what I would say. The clear problem with any bill like this is any age verification system is going to be a massive privacy problem, period. If you have to prove you're over 18 or that's a horrible idea. So instead, why don't we just make this law require social networks offer reverse chronological feeds for all users?
But again, it's worse.
Why is it worse?
Research shows. It's in my book. You'll see it in my book.
Whose research? Meta's research?
Researchers? No. Researchers who looked.
What's worse about it?
Two researchers I trust greatly from NYU, Josh Tucker, and from University of Texas, Austin, Talia Stroud, ran an experiment at scale to say what happens if we just do a reverse cron with a group versus a regular group. And people are less well informed. There's more junk in the feed. They end up using it less because it's a less pleasant experience. Which maybe you could see as positive.
Well, the one thing I can grant you is obviously the reason these companies don't do that, they do recommendation feeds, is it produces a stickier site. It's also
just a better experience.
I don't think it's a better. I will disagree with you to the bitter end.
I know you always.
The thing that's wrong with Facebook, the reason I don't use Facebook is because it puts so much crap in my feed. I follow people I'm interested on Facebook. I want to see their posts in the order in which they post them. That's all. I don't want to see all this other stuff. Well, that's a reverse chronological feed. Twitter, same thing.
Hochul's doing this is pure moral panic. Quoting from my book, she said at a press conference, "Do you understand how an algorithm works? It follows you. It
clearly she
on
doesn't.
You."
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's BS. But I think many users would say, "No, that's what I want."
Let's do it on the basis of research. Let's do it on the basis of fact, not on presumption. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, then let's study it and decide what is the best kind of feed if you're going to have a kid on Instagram to give them. Instead, this is just the presumption that algorithms are evil. Let's get rid of them. And there is research that says it's worse. You might like it this way.
Paris, you're the tiebreaker.
You're the kid. Oh, she muted herself.
You're muted, Paris.
Paris, you're muted.
Sorry, guys.
Oh.
I don't know how I got muted.
I liked it. Briefly.
I did a brief research of the research that you're talking about. And it's interesting because it doesn't pertain to specifically what the research pertains to is whether or not using a reverse chronological feed would lessen political polarization in adults. And it found that it didn't. It mostly found that using a reverse chronological feed just stopped people from using the platform. This is a quote from that researcher. I'm forgetting his first name, but his last name is Tucker. Josh Tucker. He said, "We did find actually that it had a big impact on what was going on in the platform. So people who were putting the reverse chronological feed on Facebook ended up using Instagram more than people who are getting the reverse chronological feed on Facebook. We did a separate study with people on Instagram, and people on Instagram who got the reverse chronological feed started using TikTok." And I mean, it makes sense. The reason why the platforms are using engagement-driven algorithms is they've figured out what to keep people on the platform with. And I think that you're right, Jeff, in the sense that it would be really interesting to redo this research when it comes to children and see, because I mean, I think part of what people are trying to solve for in making these laws is the idea that these feeds are addictive, which they kind of are. They're trying to give kids access to these social media platforms, perhaps in a less addictive way, which it seems like the reverse chronological feed would do. So I think
Yeah,
there's
it wouldn't
no
be as
harm in
appealing.
that.
It wouldn't be
It's
as
not
appealing.
as appealing. I think it's
understand.
fine. But I think it's all right for kids, have a slightly less appealing version of Instagram if they're going to have any version
what
of
it could also
Instagram at
be-
age 13.
Is your dumbest, stupidest, worst friends stuff, which the algorithm
That's
might know
why
smart
I
enough
follow them.
to put it.
I want to know what
but
my
you're-
dumb, stupid
You're not
friends
14
think.
years old.
Oh, okay.
You're not 14 years old, right? If you have a bunch of 14-year-old boys or girls who are putting dumb stuff in, and the algorithm knows better.
Whoa,
than to do
whoa,
their
whoa,
stupid-
whoa,
Well,
whoa.
I
You
will
said
say,
an
if it's
interesting thing
truly
there.
dumb, stupid
Jeff,
stuff, the algorithm's going to show it to
The
people. 'cause then everybody's
algorithm
gonna
knows
dunk on
better
them.
is the big problem right there.
Well,
The algorithm
but
does not know better what you should show a
can be-
14-year-old. The algorithm knows
based
one
on
thing.
research, it could.
No.
Maybe Hochul would want an algorithm
but
that
that's
is
not what it
tuned well.
does. The algorithm does one thing, which is maximize.
It can do whatever it's told to do. You can tune it
It
differently.
maximizes
So maybe you
engagement.
want an algorithm, but you want the algorithm to be different.
So you saying you would approve of a New York state law that would tell
No, I wouldn't
Facebook?
cause a law in any case. No, I would approve of what
Jeff doesn't
Paris
approve of
just
laws.
said. Right. I would approve of what Paris just said. Is let's do research, and then you can say this is the best feed for young people. I don't know what the answer to that is. Let's do that then, and it could be a very different algorithm. That's okay. It could be a reverse cron, maybe, but
So,
let's do it on the basis of
I'm on
facts, not on
Facebook.
stupid presumption.
Right now, they used to have a button that said chronological. They no longer do. And as a result, I get Angelina Jolie lovers in my Facebook feed.
I know.
Dolly Parton stays working 9 to 5.
So every time
Well,
I
the feed
say,
is awful. The feed is
hide
awful.
all
I'm
from
agree
Angelina
with that.
Jolie followers. Now let's see what else I get. Okay, that's good. Press Democrat. I don't follow them, but at least it's my local news. The glam of the 20s in old Hollywood, Loretta Young. What do they think? I'm 67
They
years
put it
old.
all
Really
in this
interesting
punch.
grammatical
Okay.
choices
I
agree.
there.
Stipulated.
This is a guy I follow. Okay, old past days.
A photo of Times
That
Square
one's-
in
that
1912,
one's
your
actually
childhood
kind of
days.
okay.
I'm not
I like that
following
you block them.
I block them. That's right. But the problem is, I did this. I did this for months and months and months, and the feed never
And
got
there's always
better.
more shit. Sorry, John.
There's
Crap.
always more junk, and so
Yeah.
if Kathy Hochul can persuade Facebook to offer everyone a reverse chronological feed, and that, by the way, they used to, and then they made it so that the settings stopped.
You
every
may
time.
be happier, and I'm not against that. That's fine. But what I am going to insist on is we don't know that it's better for kids.
I am happy though to see that apparently Stormy Daniels wants to follow me, even though her name is different. I don't understand that.
She's Robin M. Mayer.
Oh, that must be her real name.
So there's still a way
Okay.
to get to that feed, Leo. If you
How do I get to the chronological? Please tell
So,
me.
feeds,
Feeds,
The bottom,
feeds,
yeah, the bottom,
feeds.
right there.
Okay,
friends.
friends, and then just friends.
There you go.
And now
that's
it's
just
a
that's
reverse
chron
chronological feed of just people I know.
Yep.
So far, so good.
I mean, you're still gonna get ads and stuff.
Well,
and
I still
not-
get people who are going to re-feed memes, coffees, debate, fight
That's
club.
their
That's your
fault.
friend.
But that's my friends for you. So that's okay. I can live with that. Yeah, this is good.
Where is it again? Where's feeds?
Yeah, see, nobody knows.
God, I
'Cause
love
they
the
hide
part of
it.
the show where we explain how to use basic
Here's how
tech
you use
platforms to
Facebook. Now,
Leo and Jeff.
I should point out that if I press the home button or refresh the page, it's going to go right back to this. So every time I go to Facebook, but maybe if I bookmarked Feeds Friends, maybe I could do that. Yeah, maybe I'll
It
make
does
that as
have
a
a
bookmark.
URL of filter
Yeah.
equals.
Yeah, so I'll make that my Facebook bookmark. I still won't ever go there. I'll go to Instagram because it's much more
equals
interesting.
H_craw. So yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you guys. When you use Instagram, how are you using it? Are you scrolling through the feed or are you looking at
I
stories?
stopped. It's gotten so bad. And now they're saying we're going to force you to look at ads. In fact, they're even contemplating putting interstitial ads in your friend's videos. So you're watching Saul Hank
Yes.
cook up a fine prime rib sandwich, and in the middle of it, you got an ad. What? Now, that hasn't happened to me yet.
Revenue always must go up, Leo.
The only time I ever go to Instagram is to see what my son is up to. Other than that, I used to be an Instagram addict. My wife still is, but it is no longer the people you follow. It's so many other people, and it's a lot of ads. Like here's one for need a break from alcohol. No.
So there's a way to get to that feed too if you want to.
There is?
Yeah.
Like
So-
the reverse chronological
Yeah.
feed?
Yes, it's up in the corner. I
So
believe.
scroll all the way back up.
Yeah.
See, no, go back. Go to Instagram. Click on Instagram.
I don't know how to use Instagram. How do you
Click
use
on.
that?
Go back.
Go back,
Click
click
on the
on
word
Instagram.
Instagram.
On the word there.
Following?
Yep, following.
And that's just going to be the
That's
people I
just your
follow.
follows. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, that's clear enough.
Okay. That's
better.
good. So good. Am I going to see ads?
You'll probably see ads still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you used to buy things from Instagram.
Well, I
You
know.
used to
That's
like it.
part of the reasons I stopped using it is because I kept buying underwear and stuff. Oh, look, here we are. This is good. This is Twitter.
Yeah, I will say after talking a lot of
Amy
smack
Webb,
about
Glenn
me
Fleischman.
never finding anything good on my Instagram ads have soared in quality.
See?
They're
All you have to
great
do
now.
is complain.
What have you bought, Paris? What have you bought?
I got some shoes.
Did you get the Birchbox shoes with the extra wide toe thing?
No, what are those?
You have to be over 60
I got
to
some
get
real
that ad.
weird looking shoes. The girlies in Williamsburg love it whenever I wear them. So
Really? What's the brand? I'll tell you what. There is
Charlotte Stone.
Charlotte Stone. There's a sneaker brand. I think it's DC that I always know if somebody is an Instagram nut because they get those sneakers, and they look like they have little springs in the heels. And when I'm going around,
Oh, wait a second. Are you talking about Z coils?
maybe it's Z coils. I don't know. Anyway, I see them.
I don't think that these are on. These are.
No. That's not that. That's cute though.
Hold on. Let me.
Wait a minute. Do you wear these?
Wait.
They have little springers in the heel. It's like a pogo stick attached to the heel of your shoe.
That's why she's taller
Here we
than I
go.
thought.
You do wear them.
I got a. These are a vintage pair I got on eBay. And they
You
look
never
really
wear
cool.
them. You just put them on the wall.
I wear them all the time.
Really? Do people look
Yeah.
funny at you?
No, people come up to me and they're like, "Whoa, cool shoes! Where did you get them?" Or I've had multiple times someone I know who knows I have these shoes will send me a screenshot of someone else they know's Instagram story that I don't know of my shoes
Wow. All right.
because they kind of look like sneakers with heels, but they're springy. They're actually orthopedic shoes. They're very comfy.
But they don't look like orthopedic shoes.
Yeah, no, they look
No.
like weird space
Even
Jam
dorkier.
shoes.
Yeah.
My Birchbox shoes, not Birchbox. What is it? Birch? Oh,
I was
no.
going to say Birchbox.
That's not the Birchbox.
Company.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I can't remember the name
But
of it.
you get a shoe a week.
Yeah. Anyway.
But just one.
And
You
what
gotta
are the-
wait until they send you the pair. That's actually a great idea.
So Google, moving right along. Google had a clever idea. Remember, Google is being sued by the United States Department of Justice over monopoly, particularly in online advertising. The government asked for a jury trial. Now, that's interesting because the only reason they could ask for a jury trial is that they were asking for monetary damages to compensate federal agencies that bought online ads, and they say were overcharged because Google's ad product was anti-competitive. The dollar values associated with the claims were small, only $750,000, but enough that the DOJ could say, Your Honor, we are looking for compensatory damages for our government agencies in addition to shutting Google's ad business down. So what did Google do? They wrote him a check. They wrote a check, not just for $750,000, but for treble damages. So for, what is that? I don't know, 150, a little more than $3 million. Google,
boy.
big deal. They wrote him a check, and now the judge says, "Oh, well, I guess you're not going to get a jury trial." U.S. District Judge Leonie Brinkema will now be the sole arbiter, and actually, that's good for Google, right? Because a jury, in general, juries don't like these big companies, and it's unpredictable what a jury will do. But a judge, maybe you could assume, will be a little bit more knowledgeable. So at a hearing last week in Alexandria, Justice Department lawyers said, the check is insufficient, Your Honor, to moot the damages.
How dare they?
Judge Brinkman said, no. The amount of Google's check covered the highest possible amount the government could have won in its initial filings. She likened the receipt of the money, which was paid unconditionally to the government, regardless of whether the tech giant prevailed in its arguments to strike a jury trial, is equivalent to receiving a, quote, wheelbarrow of cash. I don't know. It feels a little wrong that Google should be able to say, well, I'd like to write you a check for $2.5 million. Now, what do you say? And then get off the jury trial. But it worked. This is separate from the DC
Somebody
case.
earned their bonus at Google.
Good move, lawyer.
A lot of backslapping on that
Just
one.
write him a check. And it worked.
Just cut him a check.
Cut him a check. I'll have to remember that next time I'm sued for treble damages. Just cut him a check. Let's see. What else is going on? Did you? I should go look at what you guys put in, shouldn't I? Because that's what really matters.
Do you want a completely irrelevant story?
Yes.
It's down where my pick of the weeks are.
Down low,
But
below.
Line 135. Joey Chestnut is out of the 2024 Nathan hot dog eating contest.
You know
in
what,
a beef
Lisa?
over vegan franks.
This morning, Lisa said she was going to sign me up for this.
Well, Leo,
be the new
here's what
Joey
I'm saying.
Chestnut.
You should, because have you guys ever watched the Nathan's hot dog eating contest?
It's the most revolting
the actual
thing.
hot dog eating, disgusting. The 10 minutes before, phenomenal because of the announcer, this guy George Shea, who's kind of the mastermind behind all of it. If we go to line 136, we can play the sort of, this is the intro to Joey Chestnut that happens, and it is.
This is when Joey was
unbelievable.
still competing. The legendary.
It will be a day that is the end. The collapse of time and all that stood within it. A day of nothing, of no one, of
This is from
nowhere.
ESPN.
But that day is not today.
This is the usual
Today,
MO
we
at the
burn
hot dog
bright.
eating contest.
Today, we blind the earth with our desire. And while it is still ours, we
And
will bear
by the way, he's
witness
talking to a
witness
Coney Island
this
crowd
moment,
filled
to
with people
witness
wearing hats that
this
look like
man.
hot dogs. And here he is, ladies and,
And then
gentlemen.
Joey Chestnut rises from the earth.
the humble consequence of carbon, the fleeting spray of light.
You wouldn't want to face
by
him,
the sun,
right?
Forever suspended.
I am in that crowd somewhere. I was there that.
Were you? You saw
Yes.
him rise up?
And I had no idea that this is what every intro is like at the hot dog eating contest. The guy, his whole MO, he spends months coming up with these
It's
intros.
so fun.
And he, I think, told, what was it, the New Yorker, I wish I could find a way to open the festival by speaking in tongues. It's
This
incredible.
guy's great.
Anyway,
and
I'm
he's got a
sad that we
beautiful
won't
straw
get
hat.
this year.
So Joey has decided he's out because there's a vegan dispute over vegan franks. Joey,
You got a deal.
Joey got a sponsorship deal for Impossible Foods to, probably do some social media posts, some ad campaigns about the Impossible hot dog. Apparently, one of the things I found quite interesting about the story is part of being a champion of the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, which again happens one day a year on 4th of July. They pay Joey Chestnut like $300,000 a year as part of that.
he was offered a
I
$1.2 million 4-year contract.
Yeah.
You
and I
couldn't
guess
pay
a
me enough to
stipulation of
eat
that-
72 hot dogs in what is it, an hour, half an hour? How long?
Not an hour, like minutes.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
It is crazy.
and
I mean, I don't know. If I was getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars and all I had to do was one day of eating a lot of hot dogs, I feel like I could eat a lot of hot dogs.
he has won every
all I
year
had
since
to do.
2016. He is that
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He is. And his technique, is to flood it with water, so his stomach gets jammed not only with how many hot dogs is it? Well, how many?
76.
76 hot dogs, but also gallons of water. And imagine a watered down bun is a disgusting
Oh, do
thing.
you have to eat the bun as well as the dog?
Yeah, you
Oh,
have
yeah.
to eat the bun.
Oh,
But
yeah.
they dunk the bun in water to make
That's
it go
the
down
idea.
easy. But the dispute comes from the fact, I guess, part of the clause to get paid your hundreds of thousands of dollars of hot dog yearly money is that you can't hawk other dogs.
Here's what
and
MLE, which is, what is
Major
MLE?
league eating.
Major League Eating? You're kidding? Here's what MLE said in a statement. We are devastated to learn that Joey Chestnut has chosen to represent a rival brand that sells, oh my God, plant-based hot dogs rather than competing in the 24 Nathan's famous 4th of July hot dog eating contest. MLE and Nathan's went to great lengths in recent months to accommodate Joey and his management team, agreeing to the appearance fee and allowing Joey to compete in a rival unbranded hot dog eating contest on Labor Day. For nearly 2 decades, we've worked under the same basic hot dog exclusivity provisions. You could look it up. However, it seems that Joey and his managers have prioritized a new partnership with a different brand over our long-time relationship. Joey Chestnut, they go on to say, is an American hero. We would love nothing more than to have him at the Nathan's famous International Hot Dog Eating Contest. We hope he when he's not representing a rival brand. It would be a shame
Number 2.
if those impossible meat dogs were shoved down your throat. Oh, no, sorry. They didn't say that. They didn't say that.
For comparison, the guy who placed second last year ate 49 hot dogs. Basically 30 less. It's not even close. I mean, I guess
Is he
this
gonna-
year it'll be it'll be a tight competition if he doesn't.
Yeah, it's good, actually, we got Joey out of there because he was really clogging it up, so to
It's
speak.
like,
for
it's
the
like
other
Tiger
guys.
Woods breaking
Yeah.
his leg. You
Isn't
know?
there a Japanese guy that beats everybody? I thought there was a
Well, no,
Japanese guy that beats
he
everybody.
was banned from the competition because he, I believe, jumped on stage and beat someone up a couple of years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Wow. Okay, Joey Chestnut. World record is 76 hot dogs and buns set in 2021. He's the king, undisputed. It's kind of like, oh, here he is eating. Oh, this is the most gross thing ever.
Oh,
this
it is.
This
It
is from
is.
ESPN. It's just, where's the bun? Oh, I see. He's shoving in after the
Yeah,
hot
shoving
dog.
it separately.
Yeah, he like sticks it in a glass of water so it turns into a little ball of bread.
And that alone is disgusting.
Is that his
A wet bun
special
is an awful thing.
technique? Do they get mustard on here?
No,
Look at
you
Joey.
can-
He's
you
already at
imagine the
8
mustard?
minutes in. He's up to 14 hot dogs. It's not even close. It's not even close. Is that Mrs. Chestnut?
That is, I believe, the women's there was a Mrs. Chestnut who was engaged to Joey Chestnut and was also a competitive eater, but they broke up right before the hot dog eating contest. And before they got married. And this was, of course, part of the George Shea intro, which is like he married a woman, then divorced, then called off the engagement so that he had a void that could only be filled with hot dogs. Also,
You actually
correction,
went to this? I can't believe you went to this.
I did.
Oh, it's the perfect
Brief
Paris
correction,
event.
Kobayashi, the Japanese champion, was banned due to a contract dispute, and then
again.
he ended up trying to jump on stage. So then I think he was banned again. But I did go a couple of years ago because one of my friends got us VIP tickets, which is where you get to stand in the front there.
Wow.
Even though it's not really a ticketed event.
Do you
it's
get
just
slobbered on?
I'm worried about getting hurled upon after the con.
We stood kind of, I think we were like 3 rows of people back.
Who's the horrible comic with the watermelons? Gallagher.
There is a chugging contest also, one of the many leading up events, and people like chug a gallon of something. And the thing that baffled me is after the hot dog eating contest was over, we had our day at Coney Island. We went to Ellen B. Spumoni Gardens, a great pizza place not too far from Coney Island. And a lot of the guys from the food eating competitions and the winners of the chugging competition
having a
were
pizza?
there eating giant pizza. And I was like, how? How do you have room?
I think they've got a, well, I don't know. Anyway, let's take a
Well,
break.
no, they've got a hurling clause where you can't
You're not
can't
allowed
vomit
to.
for a certain amount of time afterwards.
Like,
Oh,
what is
really?
it, though? 10 minutes? 5 minutes? What is it? I mean, at some point, what
Leo,
goes
Leo,
down
I think
must
you've got
come
to-
up.
You remember that backpack you had in
10
at,
minutes.
10
in
minutes.
Austin?
Really? Is it really true?
Yeah. They got a 10-minute
You got to keep
vomit
it down
time.
for 10 minutes, then whatever happens, happens. What backpack? I had a hot dog eating backpack?
No. At South by Southwest.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think you've got to
yeah.
equip-
The body
You need to
surfing.
send it to Paris so she can cover
Oh.
July 4
You know
for
what's
the
great?
Twit Network.
We could do it. You could do it all on your phone now. You don't
Oh,
need
yeah,
a
that's true.
backpack
That's
anymore. Times have changed. You're watching This Week in now what gagging, I think, is all I can.
In glizzies, that's the other name for hot dogs. It's not bad. It's just a name for hot dogs.
Glizzy? You call hot dogs glizzies?
Some people do.
Chestnut lost to Kobayashi in the Johnsonville World Bratwurst Eating Championship in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. He ate 45 bratwurst sausages in 10 minutes. Kobayashi ate 58.
It's probably a good way to lose weight because after you do that, you never want to look another hot dog in the eye again. I mean, you probably don't eat all year.
Kobayashi actually recently retired for health concerns.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a good thing to do to your body. You're watching This Week in
Kobayashi. I'm
Gizzles.
sorry. Brief one more hot dog.
Okay.
He says he no longer feels hunger.
I don't feel hunger. I have eaten. He's actually a skinny little guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a heavy man. There they are facing off last year. It's so gross. I can't.
It can be This Week in
It's just
just
awful.
it looks so
Goblin.
unpleasant.
It really does. He looks in pain when he's
Oh, he's
smiling
clearly
with
in
the mustard
pain.
belt.
It just shows the lengths people will go to get on TV.
Yeah.
Well, you can watch it 4th of July on ESPN. It's probably on ESPN El Ocho, I'm guessing, not exactly the main.
No, I think it's on the main one.
Is it? Yeah, it's got to be.
Oh, I'm sure it gets good ratings. Oh, yeah. No.
And it's brief, right?
Yep.
Paris Martineau, The Information, Jeff Jarvis, former professor. When is your new gig going to start so I can start?
I'm in talks right now. I just had a talk with the dean only this morning, so
Okay.
I'm working on it.
Okay. So, but for now, the emeritus Leonard Tao professor.
Well, I'm always back. I'll always be that.
He's
That's
always. You
lifetime.
can never take it away.
You can't. Once I'm emeritus,
Can't
I'm
take
emeritus.
that away from me.
I didn't realize it's full professors who get that automatically.
Are you not a full professor?
I was a full professor.
You
yes.
were tenured.
I am. Yes.
Wow. That's
With a
amazing.
bachelor's degree.
It
Hey.
really is. That's amazing.
So I was in St. Andrews at the university last year at their book history conference because, of course, the Gutenberg parenthesis. And I'm talking to the two people who run it who are just brilliant scholars, amazing scholars. And I'm talking about what I've done. And I said, well, I started 3 master's degrees. They looked at me like, well, why didn't you finish? I said, no. I created them. I don't have
Yeah. You started them as in I inaugurated them, not
Yeah.
began them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you see the artificial intelligence that's running for the House or of Commons in the UK?
I did not.
What?
It was only a matter of time. Where is that story? I thought we had it here.
It
it's
is
under
line
AI.
51.
There it
51.
is. From Wired Magazine. There's an AI candidate running for parliament in the UK, AI Steve. Now, if it wins, it'll be represented by a businessman, Steve Endicott. But Endicott says he will merely be a conduit. The AI will make the policy decisions.
I'm sorry. This is a sign of a fake country.
Voters will be able to cast their ballot for AI Steve as well as ask policy positions or raise issues of their own. AI Steve will then incorporate suggestions and requests into its platform. Endicott will be the in-person representative attending meetings and parliamentary sessions on AI Steve's behalf. He says he sees AI Steve as a way to allow for a more direct form of democracy. He's not wrong.
Wait, I'm sorry. What is it based off of?
Yeah, what model is he using?
Only
What
you
what
would ask
data?
that.
What data is informing its decisions? Is it just some guy? being
Currently,
like, yeah,
AI Steve is mistakenly listed on the ballot as Steve AI, which Endicott is working to correct. AI Steve was designed by Neural Voice, an AI voice company of which, Endicott is the chair.
Oh.
According to Jeremy Smith, the company's co-founder, AI Steve can have up to 10,000 conversations at once. A key element in creating your own database of information, says Smith, and how to inject customer data into it. So I guess it's kind of an ad for his company, isn't it? When Endicott attempted to stand for office in years past, he said he felt like life was all about party jockeying and worrying about which seats or districts were safe rather than responding to the needs of real people. I think he's not far off. How could it be any worse than our current elective representatives?
You shouldn't ask that question, Leo, because it can always be worse.
it can always
be worse. Is that your motto for life?
Yeah.
AI,
Is it not yours?
AI Steve, no, it cannot. It can only get better. It gets better.
No, it gets better, but it can always be worse.
It can always be worse. AI Steve will be different. AI Steve will transcribe and analyze conversations it has with voters and put issues of policy forward to validators or regular people who can indicate whether they care about an issue. So it kind of almost polls the electorate to see if they want this.
What's stopping me from somehow creating like 100 different like user sessions saying all I care about is this specific niche issue and then getting AI Steve to vote yes on that to benefit my mega corporation of evil?
Well, here's how they're going to do this. Endicott says that his team plans to reach out to commuters at the Brighton train stop, which would be his district, about an hour outside of London, asking them to fill out short policy surveys by email on their commutes. Having the voting system of validators to actually check those policies, make sure they're common sense, and also in control of saying, in Parliament, we want you to vote this way, just makes sense to me, which that sentence did not make sense to me, but I'm glad it made sense to you.
Finally, the most effective system in the world is somebody on a street corner asking for your attention for a moment. I don't think I've ever...
You sound like a Republican. You sound like, and I mean that with a small r, you sound like somebody who does not believe in the democratic.
Well, no. I'm just saying that's not the way to have the democratic system work. Like when I am walking to and from the subway, I would say on a multiple times a week basis, someone's like, "Excuse me, could I have your time?" And they've got a clipboard.
Oh,
it's for some
I hate that. Yeah.
Scam. And I'm like, no, that's what everybody's going to think this is. There's no way they're going to be like, yeah, AI Steve is real.
Actually, we have a problem with that in California because that actually is how you get a ballot measure on the ballot. Yeah. It only takes a few, like 100,000 signatures. So if you've got the money to put a bunch of canvassers out there getting signatures, you can get anything on the ballot in California. And by the way, the way
ruined the state.
This is what Kathy Gellis was talking about. She said the way it's set up, anything passed by that ballot measure can only be overturned by a ballot measure. The assembly can't overturn it, only another ballot measure. So it's really a mess. So, hey, you know what? AI Steve sounds like a pretty darn good idea to me. You couldn't do it here because he's not a citizen and he's probably not of 35 years old. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it would be constitutional here, but apparently in the UK, anything goes.
Aren't corporations?
Well, you can have the AI advise you or PR people.
Thanks to Citizens United, Benito. Corporations are people. So maybe an AI could run. What a world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to talk about?
I have something. Line 89. You remember?
She's got all your bad habits now, Jeff. I got to tell you. No, that Amazon tribe did not get addicted to porn.
We talked about how the remote Amazon tribe got internet through Starlink, and it was an interesting story about how they're kind of speed running all the effects of a social media generation. It did, however, get picked up in a million different outlets, which all honed in on the couple lines about how someone was concerned that a lot of the boys in the tribe were using their phones to look at pornography, and it led to basically a misinformation campaign of everybody saying, oh, this Amazon tribe is now addicted to porn, and the New York Times had to put out an article
which is very rare that they do this. I mean,
the same author,
because
Jack
the
Nicklaus,
article,
who wrote the original story, took great pains to say the story we published June 2nd did not say that they were addicted to porn, but over the past week, more than 100 websites around the world have published headlines that falsely claim the Maruba have become addicted to porn. The New York Post was among the first, of course, saying last week that the Maruba people were hooked on porn. Dozens quickly followed that take. TMZ's, it's all the best journalists. TMZ's headlines were perhaps the most blunt, and this is all in caps. Tribes Starlink hookup results in porn addiction! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Similar headlines proliferated around the world, including in the UK, Germany, Australia, India, Indonesia, Malaysia. Well, it's good. It's not exactly beat sugar. It's more like honey. It's like beat honey.
Yeah.
Russia's state media outlet RT published the claim in Arabic. In Brazil, the rumors spread fast, including in the small Amazonian cities where some Marubo now live, work, and study. So, Jack says, the Marubo people, to be clear, are not addicted to pornography. There was no hint of this in the forest, and there was no suggestion of it in the New York Times article.
And, to bring it all back to our favorite guy, Elon Musk also tweeted this week a screenshot of the story saying it was disrespectful and unkind of the New York Times to say that about the tribe.
Which they didn't.
Using this as... They didn't, of course.
But of course, he never gets anything right.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well,
meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal...
Yes.
And Elon Musk...
Yes.
A big Me Too story in which the journal soft pedals it and talks about his, I quote, boundary blurring relationships with women at SpaceX.
He had sex, for instance, with an employee and former intern and asked a woman at his company to have his babies. Elon has, among his other many strange beliefs, the belief that that we are in a population crisis and that people with his high IQ should be reproducing maximally.
This is Elon eugenics. This is all test real.
Drink.
A former SpaceX engineering intern, he contacted her to discuss a role on his executive staff in 2017. The woman spoke with excitement to her friends about a high-profile problem-solving role at the rocket company, a dream for someone a few years out of college. This is the worst. She and Musk met years earlier during her internship when she was still in college. She had approached him with ideas for improving SpaceX. Her outreach had led to a date, which led to a kiss and eventually sex. She told friends the year after her internship, the billionaire had the fresh college graduate flown out to a resort in Sicily before they ended things. She's more than 20 years younger than Musk. Attempted to restart the relationship. She rejected his advance. They remained close as she tried to establish herself in the new job. This is straight out of the, Harvey Weinstein playbook. He texted her often and invited her to come over to his LA mansion at night on multiple occasions. Sometimes she accepted his invitations, but friends said she told him at the time his behavior made her job harder. She eventually moved off the executive team and left the company in 2019. Her lawyers, who also represent Musk, there seems like there's a problem with that, provided the journal with 2 affidavits signed by the woman, disputing the journal's reporting, but confirming some of it, including that she had a romantic relationship with Musk in the past. She obviously, we know what's happened here.
Yeah.
She's one of several female employees at SpaceX, the journal writes, who have told friends, family, or the company itself that Musk showed them an unusual amount of attention or pursued them.
So she told that
SpaceX
to friends at the time, but then the affidavit, she said, nothing that Elon Musk did towards me during either of my periods of employment at SpaceX was predatory or wrongful in any way.
Can you unlock the door now?
Former SpaceX executives, as well as fired SpaceX employees who complained to the National Labor Relations Board in 2022, say a high-level group around Musk fails to apply his company's own rules to the CEO, contributing to a culture of sexism and harassment. They say there's an understanding that Musk, a charismatic leader with many fans who call him a genius, can act with impunity. Quote, Elon is SpaceX and SpaceX is Elon.
Well, we might find out if that's the case this week because, of course, as you know, shareholders are voting on his $56 billion pay package, a pay package which was overturned by a Delaware court. Actually, now it's down to $44.9 billion. He has threatened to leave the company if he doesn't get that vote in his favor this Thursday. Or take his artificial intelligence research to another company. So there's a little bit of a kind of a stress on the shareholders.
Taking my ball and going home.
Yeah. It is an all-stock compensation package, but it's worth quite a bit, less than it was, I note. About $12 billion less than it was.
Why any other person in any other company, A, he'd be fired by now. B, there'd be stories all over media about this.
Well, don't you think it's interesting that with this vote coming up on Thursday, that the Wall Street Journal publishes this article? I mean, you might interpret it as a hit piece on Elon Musk. Prior to the...
I think the reporting is.
Prior to the board meeting.
Oddly. Yeah.
They also resurrected that story about him offering a SpaceX flight attendant, offering to buy her a horse in exchange for sex acts. I'll buy you a horse. Do you think that's romantic?
Another woman who left the company in 2013 alleged in exit negotiations with SpaceX, human resources, and legal executives that Musk had asked her to have his babies. And a fourth woman had a month-long sexual relationship with Musk in 2014 while she directly reported to him. The relationship ended badly, leading to recriminations over text and email as she left the company, and signed an agreement prohibiting her from discussing the work for Musk.
Regarding the intern, they bonded over Star Wars and kissed. Oh. Isn't that how all wonderful romances begin?
All right. I know it's
not the kind of story you like doing. But
I
it's
don't
just,
because it's so salacious. True or not, it's so salacious. I think it's pretty apparent to those of us on the outside that Elon is a difficult person to work for, has some very odd beliefs. Now, I have to point out, we all thought that he was going to destroy Twitter, right? And that Twitter would collapse because he fired 3/4 of the staff. Right. It hasn't. I don't know if it's better than it was.
The site hasn't stopped working, but...
but we thought it would. We thought it's going to, he came in and said...
Some people who tend towards histrionics thought it would stop working. I feel like anybody who understands how websites work didn't think that just by firing the staff at the website would cease to exist.
I mean, I'm not on the inside. I don't know if he's a bad manager or not. I don't think I'd want to work for him. I don't think anybody in their right mind would want to work for him. Clearly, people do, though. I mean, SpaceX has a great series of successes. They just did it again. Did the chopsticks catch the thing yet? No, it landed in the ocean. Okay, this is the sorry? So this is the fourth flight? Fourth test. You say that 6 times fast. This is the 4th test flight of Starship, which has the largest rocket in history and is part of NASA's plan to put humans back on the moon in, they say, in 2026. That seems unlikely. And then that's preparatory to putting people on Mars in 2027, 2028.
I think that's about when we have AGI by then too. So it's a busy time.
That's great.
But
back to
he's
done pretty well with SpaceX, right? Starlink is an amazing story. Look at our host for Untitled Linux show, Jonathan Bennett, who does the show from Starlink, and it works quite well, right? So I don't know.
A couple points. One, Twitter monthly active users are down by basically a quarter. over the last year. This is according to an NBC News report from, March. Two, I don't think anybody is saying that the products like Starlink are bad. I think that the fundamental critique here is that Musk is able to overhype his products at a level no other chief executive is. He is able to send this stock prices of his companies skyrocketing in a way that is not tethered to reality. Yeah. That's part of the reason why probably his board keeps him around despite all of these hijinks. Is there's no, if you had a normal CEO, you wouldn't have, Tesla's stock price wouldn't be where it is today, probably. A big part of Musk's allure as a chief executive is the way that the culture reacts to him.
Yeah, and how he plays media, and media play along. So I'm still on Twitter, and I get crap for it once in a while. Walt Mossberg yells at people all the time, you have to get off Twitter because it's evil. And I say, but there's communities there that matter to me. Have you guys watched the Hulu Black Twitter special?
No, is it good? I know you're kind of an expert.
No, but it's based on Jason's story at Wired.
Wired, yeah. Have you watched it, Paris?
No, I haven't. I need to.
I would recommend it to you both.
It's good. You think it's good?
Yeah, and it's important to see that perspective about communities, that they own what they built there, and it's not easy to just move that somewhere.
Yeah.
And so part of what appears on Twitter is, to my mind, white flight, is that those of us, who can easily, I can go to Mastodon and I can go to Blue Sky and I find people I want to talk to, and it's easy and fine because I didn't build, it's me as an individual able to do that, but a whole community is a very different matter.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, every few days I go and look at Twitter because, and I do fairly frequently find stories that I haven't found elsewhere that I want to cover. I mean, that's most of the time I spend on the internet is looking for stuff to talk about on this show and others. Mm-hmm. And Twitter's a good resource for that. I see people complaining that the For You feed is filled with hate and ugly videos and stuff, and I don't see that for some reason.
I don't actually see it though.
Yeah, so
the most complaint I see now is on Threads. Journalists constantly complain about Threads because Threads is downgrading political news.
Right.
I think go to Mastodon and go to Blue Sky.
I still am a Mastodon fan. I know it's a little nerdy and maybe not as buzzy and exciting as the commercial entities, but I like the fact that it's open, that we can run our own server, which we do at twit.social. By the way, you're all invited if you are curious about Mastodon to sign up. Just make sure you say, I listen to Twit or Twig or, Leo sent me or something like that, so I know. Because we get a lot of spammers, too, trying to join, saying things like, I would like to talk about my fine widgets project so that everyone can get widgets in their home. And I usually just say, I reject those people. But I just, there's something about Mastodon, I just really like it. I feel like it's just nerdy enough. I don't know.
I find some things really, I was in a discussion the other day, and some things really take off of Mastodon. And what I do cross-post, I will confess that.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating to see what picks up in one place and not the other. And I don't have any pattern necessarily, but it is different. It's I haven't been able to suss it out yet.
It's the nerds. I like the nerds. I'm a nerd guy. I like nerds.
Oh, yeah.
And X used to be nerds, and now I don't know really how I would characterize what X is these days.
Yeah, I will say my main complaint with the For You feed is it's all just clear.
It's promotional.
Engagement bait.
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing where I will notice if it reminds me of Instagram's algorithm in some way. I turn off suggested posts in Instagram for this reason, where if I so much as hover over a video, I hovered over a video of something relating to Bridgerton the other day. I don't watch that show. It just intrigued me. And then for the next couple of days, every other post in my For You feed was Bridgerton related content. It's just overly sensitive in a way that I don't find very useful.
Oh, that's interesting.
Huh. That's actually why I don't use algorithmic feeds at all. I don't use algorithmic feeds at all because of that.
Because you're going to get that.
Yeah, because I don't want to, when I click on something, I don't mean I want to do all that. I just want to see this one thing. I don't want all of that thing.
I never reply, I never like, I never send signals. So I think that that's helpful because now I'm just getting, they don't know who this is that's browsing it.
For instance, I guess one thing that's worth talking about is today Twitter rolled out hiding likes,
Right.
which I think is a sad update. Whenever you click on a post, you can see like 32 people liked it, but you can no longer see who those
the
users
likes
are.
And we did use that often to tar people with somebody else's brush, to say, oh, you see, this guy liked that neo-Nazi post. He must be a neo-Nazi too. Now you can't do it anymore. I'm not sure
Famously,
that's a bad thing.
whatever it was it 5 or 6 years ago on September 11th, Ted Cruz liked a porn tweet, or Ted Cruz's account.
Right.
We'll never have a moment like that again.
No. I liked seeing who liked on that occasion where I think who was friendly to this, who was nice to me about this.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can still see who likes your own posts.
Oh, my own.
But
I
I
can't
think
see
that
others.
something,
Oh.
I did really like it whenever, if a post was popping off with an opinion I disagreed with and I saw someone smart under it give what I thought was the correct take on a subject. I like seeing who are the 8 people who I think actually really get this, that have liked that post.
Don't you think all social networks are just turning into TikTok clones ultimately?
Yes, I mean,
That's
everything
good.
is optimizing for video
Yeah.
in a way that I find very infuriating.
It's
As
sad
someone
about
who
Twitter.
I don't
Twitter
like
used
watching
to be text.
video.
Yeah, Twitter used to be all about text, and now
I mean,
it's
yeah,
really all
that's
about
what you see now.
TikTok-style videos. Yeah.
It reminds me of the pivot to video.
Everybody's pivoting to video.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, is Blue Sky any better? I don't know.
I like Blue Sky. I really
Okay.
do.
Yeah.
All right. It's a great place to get. It looks like planners and notebooks and all sorts of lovely.
I think that's the wrong blue sky.
Oh, is that? Is that not? That's not. That's the different Blue Sky. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I knew that. I am sad about this, but I don't know if I should be. Sony has purchased Alamo Drafthouse. Alamo Draft. I first experienced it in Austin, Texas, where I think it was
Right.
started.
South by Southwest,
Yeah.
right?
It's this amazing theater where you could get beer and food brought to you. They had special seats that had little tray tables and trenches in front of them so that the waiters could walk up and down the aisles without blocking the movie. They did great programming. They mix interesting movies together. I just loved it, and it spread. In fact, we had one in San Francisco. Most Alamo locations are in big cities. But, like all movie theaters, they're struggling. And Sony, which is a motion picture company, among other things, has purchased Alamo Drafthouse. They'll continue to operate the 30 cinemas. Sony did not talk about the terms of the deal. So maybe they've just kept them alive.
One thing I think that's interesting about this story, because I had kind of the same reaction as you, Leo, is this wouldn't have happened if not for during the Trump administration, the Trump DOJ rolled back an antitrust decision from like the 40s.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Effectively, it broke up. So this is actually a move back to
Yes.
the old Hollywood studio
Exactly.
model. Because this antitrust decision that happened in the 40s was designed to, all the Hollywood studios at that time were vertically integrated. We're the same company that, that came up with the idea for the movie, chose the actors, made the movie. They also owned the theaters. And that resulted in a lot of unfortunate outcomes for consumers. So the DOJ at that point broke it up as an antitrust issue in these series of settlements kind of known as the Paramount Decrees. Trump's DOJ, and I think like 2018, 2019, was like, oh, we don't need that anymore, and got rid of it. And because they got rid of that, that has opened the door for Sony to acquire Alamo.
This is from the Wikipedia article about the 1948 United States versus Paramount Pictures case. A Supreme Court ruling decided the fate of film studios owning their own theaters and holding exclusivity rights in which theaters would show their movies. It changed the way movies are produced, distributed, and exhibited, opened the door for more foreign and independent films to be shown in the U.S. In 2019, as part of a review of its ongoing decrees, the Department of Justice issued a 2-year sunsetting notice for Paramount, August 2020. So in August of 2022, that antitrust restriction disappeared. DOJ saying it was no longer necessary as the old model could never be recreated in contemporary settings. And there's Sony, a big motion picture studio,
We'll see.
buying a 30-theater chain. Maybe just a little toe in the water, just to see what happens. Let's just see.
Well, the big difference here is that like theaters don't make money anymore. So it's not like a big money making business anymore.
But you can make money if you are a motion. Let's say you're Comcast Universal, and you buy all the AMC theaters, and you give them exclusive rights to all your movies. Maybe you could make money with
I don't know. That sounds like Netflix to me.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Netflix, by the way, we just were talking about it last week, owns a wonderful movie theater in New York.
Yeah, the Paris Theater.
Yeah.
Something that Scooter X pointed out. Yeah, named after me.
Yeah.
Something Scooter X pointed out in the Discord is there's actually a provision that allows the ownership of single
individual theaters.
cinema, things like that. But the thing that's notable about this case is that Sony's buying a chain of theaters.
Right, 30.
The
It's only
seventh
30.
largest chain
it's only 30,
in
but they're-
the
but
US.
they're-
But I mean,
Wait a
still,
minute.
that's
It's the second largest chain in the U.S.?
seventh, not second.
Okay.
Seventh.
AMC.
Paris, I know you go to movies. Leo, besides
I go to movies. I
Oppenheimer.
used to be a big Alamo girly. I'm now a Nighthawk girly, which is, I believe, it's like a local chain here in New York City. There's two, but I believe it ended up, it was the progenitor of the idea of having kind of like the dine-in movie experience that Alamo is now famous for.
I would call this show the Nighthawk Girly, but then I'm afraid the Wall Street Journal would do an expose on me and I'd be out of work. So I won't. I'll just pretend I did. I'll think about it.
Leo, besides Oppenheimer, when was the last time you went to a movie?
That was the last time. Besides Oppenheimer, before COVID.
Yeah.
Wow. What about you, Jeff?
Oh, wait a minute. John's mad because during COVID, he rented the entire motion picture and brought, it was about 20 or 30 of us folks to see the Doctor Strange movie when it came out.
Oh, that's fun.
So
that's
you're
fun.
right, John. 2 times since COVID. That one.
So I missed my movie theater's really greasy, oily popcorn. And a few weeks ago, I went, I thought, well, I'm just going to buy a small popcorn. I need a snack. Small, little tiny popcorn.
Oh, it's huge.
$8.
Yeah, but it's only $9
$8.
if you buy the big one. So buy the big one.
Right.
It's a weird
I said no
pricing
thanks.
model they have in motion in movie theaters. That stuff will kill you. It really
Oh,
will.
it will.
Yeah.
Well, it's, yeah.
Yeah, I think
palm oil.
it's over for movie theaters. We have basically a home theater now with a 77-inch
I'm shocked that you guys say this.
OLED
I
screen.
love movie theaters.
But you're a social animal. You go with friends, presumably.
Yes, you are.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've gone in the last, I used to not watch movies at all, but I have gotten really into watching movies over the last year, and I'll go by myself to movie theaters.
I
just enjoy watching
love
something on
movies.
on the silver screen with a bunch of people.
I'm
around
like
me.
you. I will watch Criterion Channel, but I don't know why.
All right, so let me ask you this, Paris. The theaters now have assigned seating.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
My problem with that is,
You have to
I remember
plan.
going to a Berlin theater many years ago where they had assigned seating then, and they believed it. I was in an empty theater all day long, 2 people right next to me because that's where their seats are, and so they're going to sit there, and I was sitting here. The whole theater we can sit in. The problem I was assigned seating is I was sitting next to somebody who does open mouth popcorn chewing.
Ooh.
I want
That's
to
against
move
the
away.
law.
But I can't move away because it's an assigned seat. and
I mean,
could-
if the lights are down,
You can
I feel
move
like you
away
can.
once the movie starts.
I know, but
It's like an airplane. Once they close the door,
Yeah.
all seats are
oh,
available.
not anymore. Oh no. You didn't
I
know
mean,
that.
it's a little bit. I will say I don't that much enjoy going to movies where it's not assigned seating or kind of a
Really?
food situation. Like whenever I've gone, the only time I go to a normal-ish movie theater is when I go to the IMAX AMC theater, and I feel like a barbarian having to. And even then, I think it is still assigned seatings. You pick the seats, but you're like in the tiny little movie seats, balancing your popcorn. I need a table. I don't want a plush seat where I can lean back. I want someone to come take my order. That's the movie experience.
Now, where are you, Paris, on talking in theaters during the movie?
No.
No.
Maybe an occasional whispered
whisper.
comment.
Like,
Yeah.
who the hell's that? And
Yeah.
Where did-
or like a little joke or something.
what did she
That could
just
be
say?
fun.
If I lived where you live, Paris, I'd probably go to the movies all the time.
Yeah.
I
mean,
love
I have
movies.
I'm lush with choice.
But here in Petaluma, there's one theater. They have rats, which is kind of the New York
that's not good.
experience, I admit.
That is true.
But I just
How much does a ticket cost these days? I have no idea.
Oh God, it's $15.
Depends.
Or something, right?
It's like $20.
It could be
right?
$15, or there's like cheaper. I will often go to Nighthawk. Has like I like when I don't watch that many new movies, but I like watching like throwback.
Well, see, and that's the other
movies. Still
problem.
have discounted.
You have repertory theaters like Nighthawk. Here, we're going to only see the first run, whatever's showing. And movies, this last couple of years have not been the best.
Oh, they're
years
awful
for movies, right?
They're awful.
So
Years ago, I contended many years ago that TV was better than movies, and now they're both trash.
That's when you wrote for TV.
Yeah, one of my favorite
Yes.
websites is screenslate.com, which essentially compiles all of the movie listings of like indie cinemas in New York and LA by day. So you can see at Alamo Drafthouse, Lower Manhattan, they have Weirdo Mystery Movie tonight at 9:30. You can see they've got a 19.
So this is kind of like the Criterion collection on the screen. And I agree.
Oh,
By the
Dog
way,
Day Afternoon is playing.
what a great movie. Have you seen The Zone of Interest yet? Highly recommend it. Oh, that is a good movie. It's very simple and slow, but it's extremely powerful by the time you've seen it all.
There's also a documentary of the same story.
Oh, I know. That one is called But I'm a Cheerleader, right? No, that's not it.
That's very different. Very different.
It's based on a is it based on a documentary or a novel? The Zone of Interest. Anyway,
I don't know.
it's
But anyway,
Jonathan
there's another
Jonathan
documentary.
Glazer's
Jonathan Glazer.
latest, and it's
Masterpiece.
I think it was nominated for an Academy. I know it was nominated. I can't remember if it won or not.
It won. And
It did win.
he made a speech that was controversial.
Ah, that's the one where he said,
Yeah.
yes, okay. That's right. I remember now, yeah. Or Teen Witch. I could go see that. Alamo Drafthouse and the new mission showing Back to the Future, Part 3. A little watched final sequel. Then Teen Witch, followed by, on Weird Wednesday, The Corridor of Mirrors from 1948. You could spend the whole day eating. What do you eat at the Alamo Drafthouse? It's got weird stuff, right? Weird food.
I think I like their queso dip is good.
Oh, I love queso.
They've got some good loaded fries. One time I went, this is in Nighthawk. Nighthawk, similar, they have just a mystery bucket of different gummies, which is one of my friends and I, there was a time where
Those
they were
kind of
doing
gummies
page night.
or not gummies?
I mean, the mystery was that they were gummies, but it was like, a gummy worm, a gummy strawberry. You didn't know what sort of gummies
They were all
gonna be. They were all
legit
gummies.
gummies.
They were all legit gummies.
Okay.
But this is
So
the
the
future.
downtown Brooklyn Alamo House menu.
Like this
has
is what
fried
movies are going
pickle
to be.
spears.
It's going to be curated films because people watch movies at home now because everyone has a great TV and a great system.
That's the thing. I have a very nice system. The movies look better. Oppenheimer really honestly looked better on my OLED at home on a Blu-ray. And I have good sound and it's comfortable. We actually, Lisa bought movie theater seats. So we can recline. It's got a table. It's for your popcorn. It's got a cup holder. So it's just like going to the movie theater by yourself.
You see, but here's the thing. It's just too woke. At the Alamo in Brooklyn, truffle herb Parmesan popcorn.
Yum.
That's not
That's
woke. That's
woke.
bougie. That's a bougie.
Bougie, but
Bougie,
it's not. It's
Vegan
also delicious.
cauliflower basket. Jeez.
Don't
Okay,
equate
well,
woke
Jeff,
and
you're
bougie.
not going to like Nighthawk, which will frequently have a pairing menu with
Lord.
their movies where it's like courses.
What kind of wine goes with a mystery bucket of gummies? I'm just curious.
That's a great question.
Probably
I feel like
Jägermeister.
a Chardonnay or something.
Something crisp and light.
For instance, right now at the Nighthawk, you could get a paired food and drinks for Furiosa, the Mad Max saga, which is
Oh, they
one
pair
is
it with the
Fury
movie.
is Born.
Oh,
Movie, yeah.
They have a
movie.
lamb. They have a lamb kofta, and
yum.
the Darkest of Angels is the drink, which is a Four
beer.
Pillars Bloody Shiraz gin with Lillet rose, grapefruit, ginger, and lime.
Yum. See, bougie does not mean anything but delicious. In my book.
bougie is good.
That means nothing
Brussels
but
sprout
expensive.
bacon and goat cheese pizza.
Oh, no, that's bad.
Okay, the pizzas at Alamo are good. They're like flatbreads. It's really nice.
All right. we're going to take a break. And
From this riveting technology talk.
fascinating conversation, and get your picks of the week in just a bit.
There's more food ahead. Just wait.
Exciting. I should mention that if you're not yet a member of Club Twit, we would very much love to have you in the club. We are this close, inches away from our 12,000th member. So I think when I checked on Windows Weekly, 22. All we need is 22 new members. I would love to.
Come on.
I would love to cross 12,000 today. And I'll tell you, it's not about anything but keeping these shows going. It doesn't go in my pocket. It doesn't go in Lisa's pocket. We're not getting paid next month because we're pretty much out of money. But we want to make sure the staff gets paid, the lights stay on. We want to make new shows. We want to keep doing the shows we love doing for you. So if you listen and you like, please join the club. It's only $7 a month. Very inexpensive, I think. You get ad-free versions of all the shows. You get access to the Discord. Some people say, well, I don't want the Discord. I want the ads. That's fine. These are just little things we're throwing in. But really, the $7 is all about keeping the shows on the air. If you want to help, twit.tv/clubtwit. We thank you in advance. We are close. 21 more will put us over the top. 21 more. Okay. I guess we start with Stacy. Sorry. I guess we start with Paris. Stacy's on my mind because Stacy is
She was on Twit.
She was on Twit on Sunday, if you like Stacy, and her book club is coming up on the 27th. We're doing High Voltage. So that's why I was thinking about Stacy, because of the club. But Paris Martineau, what is your pick of the week?
My pick of the week is something I talked about a couple weeks ago, Ren Faire.
Oh, I started watching that because of you.
It's
my
on HBO.
God,
it
is
is
it weird?
phenomenal.
It's so
I hadn't
weird.
watched it at that point. I just finished it. It is, I've described it as, it is Succession meets Medieval Times meets Tiger King, but filmed like a fever dream.
It's got a Tiger King kind of feeling to it. It
is about the Texas Renaissance Festival, this massive Renaissance fair in Texas that has been operating for decades, is grown to the size where the owner and operator of it has literally built a town. He incorporated a whole city of which he is the mayor. His name is King George. And it follows...
Yep.
George Coolum, he's like 86 years old, kind of losing his marbles in more way than one.
He says,
and
I'm going to live another 9 years, but I don't want to spend my remaining time running the Renaissance Fair. He says, quote, I want to do art and chase ladies.
And that he does, except for it is really a story about control and that he can't give up the power of it. So it's kind of the succession battle between the popcorn king of the Renaissance Festival and the chancellor, who's their general manager, who's going to win to take over.
The guy says, we built this Ren Faire on kettle corn because that's his concession.
Yes, he's the kettle corn lord.
Oh my God, this is
and
so
this
weird.
guy who's trying to buy the Renaissance Festival, which goes for tens of millions of dollars, he's kind of a tech bro-y type. He's always seen wearing AirPods, talking on the phone, and then crushing Red Bulls, going so hard.
I don't
Red
know
Bulls.
if they're adding the gulp, gulp, gulp in post, or if he's really gulping those, but it's like, it's hysterical. It is the weirdest show I've ever watched. It is Tiger King.
It is.
Yeah. I've only gotten through the first one. Does it get weirder?
I knew you'd love it.
Oh, it gets so weird.
So are you planning now to go to a Ren Festival somewhere?
Yes, I am.
Oh, well, we used to have the Ren Fair out here in Novato every year. It was a very nice Renaissance fair. I'd put on baggy tights and a funny hat and eat turkey legs. It was great. It was good. I loved it. And our own Scott Wilkinson.
It's very funny. I've read a lot of interviews with the director now, and one interviewer had asked him, like, "Oh, has your body changed at all? Like, what has it been like subsisting on Ren Faire food for 3 years?" And he's like, "I've gone from being a scrawny man to having the physique of a 1950s Jewish boxer." He's Jewish, and he's like, "Because all I keep eating are turkey legs and things like that." And it's really, I would recommend it.
It's produced by Benny and Josh Safdie, which is interesting. But the director I've not heard of.
Their production company.
Yeah, Lance Oppenheim.
Lance Oppenheim. He's the guy who did Some Kind of Heaven. as well as Sperm World, a documentary on FX about
there's a resume.
people. Yeah.
I actually liked Some Kind of Heaven. That was about the villages, right? That was.
Yeah.
This is. I can see now the similarity. This is very much like the villages.
The thing that I think is really interesting about it, which I was surprised to read online that a lot of people took issue with, is it's very much not your standard documentary. It doesn't, begin with a guy like sitting down in a chair being like, okay, let's begin or whatever. It is very artistically directed, and which is similar to the director's kind of take on a lot of his documentaries. They're kind of a fantasia, but in this case, it's like heightened. And the director, when interviewed about it, was like, yeah, normally, I try to like do some sort of treatment and like really film it in a way that people feel the feelings my subjects are feeling. But he's like, this one was different because the cast is all theater nerds. It's all people who've worked in theater at a Renaissance fair for decades. So they were really game to be like, let me walk you through an interpretation of how I was feeling in this moment. And you get some really wild scenes out of it that like make you think like, oh, is this real or not? And it's communicating something real, but it's very artistic. And I love that.
I'm reading the interview in Hollywood Reporter with Oppenheim, the director, and I'm starting to see myself in this. He says, the more I worked on this, the more I saw different Georges all over our culture. It was like the movie They Live. I think this story is about a man of advanced age who is creating something very specific to him that has become very successful, and he doesn't know if it can run well without him. And if you look around society, this exact archetype is all over. I think we should have a documentary about Twit.
Yeah.
And then
I think that would be really interesting.
I could pretend to hand it off every episode to another person and then yank it back. It's really kind of interesting. He says,
Benito, you get week one.
Yeah, you get week one. Ren Faire has a lot to say about where we are as a culture right now with so much of the government and institutions being run by people of advanced age who are clinging to their positions because it gives their life meaning and purpose, and what that does to the people that work underneath them that could steward the next generation, but maybe they don't have the same amount of magic the first person does. Wow. Very interesting.
Paris, therenlist.com lists Ren Fairs near you and related ones. You might like this. In Marcus Hook, Pennsylvania, there is a pirate festival.
Ooh, I do like that.
I thought you'd like that. Yep.
Arr.
Yep.
Yes, I will be going.
Well, we go
September 21st. Count me in.
Wow.
Pottsville, there is the Enchanted Valley Fairy and Pirate Fest.
Ooh.
What costume would you wear for that?
For a pirate festival?
Would you be a pirate or a
It can't be a
fairy?
pirate. That would be too easy.
Be a
No,
fairy.
I mean,
How about a fairy pirate?
honestly, my first thought is a parrot, and then I would creatively pose with pirates, like
On your
where I'm
shoulder.
kind of far away, so I
should-
look like them on their
Oh,
shoulder.
that's brilliant.
Forced perspective, yeah.
Yeah, forced perspective
forced
parrot. Forced perspective Paris.
Perspective Paris.
I
yeah.
like it. I like
Leo,
it.
if you go to therenlist.com/all-fairs, you will see a visualization of how many of these things there are.
I'm not surprised, actually.
Yeah, you can't be surprised. Like there's like
Whoa.
anyone who's into anything that much, there's definitely going to be lots of them. Like a lot of people do this.
I love Renaissance fairs. I can't pull it up.
Rusty Scupper's Pirate Day. And it's fair, just spelled normally, not with an E.
Or just go to therenlist.com.
3
The
barons.
list.
It's late in the day. I don't know if there are quite a few of them. And they have different
Yeah,
colored
that's
markers depending on what kind of fair
What
they
fetish you're into, yeah.
Let's see what's here. Pirates of the Pacific Festival. There you go.
Oh,
That's just up
a
the
good one.
road in McKinleyville. Let's all go. Or Medieval Festival of Courage.
Courage. Oh, milady.
Courage.
Hey, you know what's on there? Texas Renaissance Festival as depicted in Ren Faire.
Of course it
Runs
is.
from October 12th to December
Look at
1st.
this. This is
That's
the
all?
season.
Oh.
'Tis the season
Oh my
for...
God, the success of the show is going to make this story even crazier.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be tons of them.
Yeah.
Don't we also have a Civil War reenactment up here?
You gotta.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have to. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Even though the Civil War was not fought anywhere near Petaluma, right?
All right, Jeff, your pick of the week.
All right. You have your sound up on your machine here?
I do.
All right. So I have been abused on this show for years.
Yes.
Stacy did it first.
Yes.
You did it. Paris,
Yes.
you've
Yes.
done it a bit. Everybody
Me?
else has done it. Where I'm ridiculed for making microwave cacio e pepe. Now, I want to now, in a moment here, go to the most renowned and scientific chef there is. I'm afraid, the guy who runs Milk Street.
By the way, I have to point out.
He's a microwave food influencer because I believe he either started or is paid by a company that makes microwave bowls that use metal to do something. I know who you're talking about.
Well, Chris Kimball. But you got to go back.
This is,
Go back
this
to the
is the
beginning.
guy. Well, this is the beginning.
Yeah, go to the beginning. No. Go to the very beginning.
I was thinking of a
This is
different
the
one.
hardest
very, very beginning.
Recipe ever.
The hardest, the most difficult recipe of my entire
Cacio
life.
e pepe. is
3
the
ingredients:
hardest
pasta,
recipe ever.
pepper, and cheese. That's
Watch
all.
it anyway.
Cacio e pepe.
This is Chris Kimball, isn't it?
Ingredients Plus the
Yes.
pasta cooking water. What can go wrong? Everything. So
See?
we went to Rome to start all over again.
Wow.
And figure out how to solve
I gotta. By the way,
It has 3 secrets.
this is the
Number one,
worst sound
start
I've
with
ever
flavor.
heard in my
know.
life.
Yeah, homie needs a microphone.
Give the guy a microphone.
Number
So
two,
he's
use 4
mortar
cups
and
of
pestle
water.
grinding some peppercorns.
You only use a quarter cup of water.
Yeah, look at that. He's doing it in a frying pan. You don't want the big pot of spaghetti.
So
'cause
you get-
want
you
the
get more
starch. This is how you do
starch.
carbonara too, by the way. This is exactly how you do
Finally, use the
carbonara.
right type of pasta, the right brand.
In fact, really, cacio e pepe is just carbonara without the pork.
It's going to be rougher in
Yeah.
your hands, and it means that more starch is going to come out of the pasta into the
Oh,
water.
that's interesting.
Starchy liquid.
The science of
See?
cacio e pepe.
See, it's not so simple, everybody.
I want to make it now. I'm hungry.
Damn.
It's a perfect
I
food.
want catch. I retract my statement. That's not the microwave influencer chef.
No.
Okay,
no.
thank you
That's
very much.
Chris
No,
Kimball is
he's the
legend.
Chris to do everything exactly right.
Yeah.
They test a chicken 100 ways.
I have all
the
of
other
their
thing-
cookbooks because I believe that it is
Yeah,
the
he
best
knows his
recipe.
stuff.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, we're going to lose TikTok and we're going to lose something in our culture. TikTok has ignited a cottage cheese renaissance.
Okay. We haven't seen this, but I'll also say cottage cheese is having a renaissance because it's big in anorexia communities.
Is it really?
online. Yes.
Well, I know, in my youth, people would go on the cottage cheese diet. I have always
That's
loved
where it kind of comes from.
I have always loved cottage cheese, though. It's delicious.
Enough salt, yeah.
Salt or pepper, and I actually put vinaigrette, balsamic vinaigrette on it, but I think cottage cheese is really just a substrate for flavor. But it is,
If you
I
go
guess,
to the search
if you lived
there on
on
the
it,
next
it wouldn't be
line,
good for you.
It would be good.
Oh,
But the
this is
things look
interesting
rich.
though. D2C cottage, these cute influencery cottage cheese brand that's in Jeff's thing. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you go to they look at that cottage cheese toast 3 ways. That's no diet.
I like cottage
Yeah, it
cheese.
does.
I like cottage cheese. I know I'm the only one in the family. That's the other reason I like it, because I can buy
Okay, I
cottage
will say
cheese.
second video says best protein weight loss hack, cottage cheese. I'd like to
okay,
thank
all
cottage
right.
cheese for helping me lose
Yeah.
weight. Sorry.
What is she's putting an immersion blender in
What?
and
Oh, I
blending
don't
her
like
cottage
that.
cheese? That's disgusting. What is she doing? Oh, she's got a ton of it in her fridge.
Oh boy.
I don't know. No.
What
no.
is she do?
We can't try and
No. What? I don't. Why would you cream cottage cheese? By the way, 1.9 million views, which kind of gives you some idea of.
Is she going to explain anything?
I guess it's whipped cottage cheese.
What do you do with it?
Eat it.
Click the more.
What's the B?
It's
mean?
disgusting.
What's the B?
I don't
for?
know. Well, the reason you lose weight is because it's so disgusting you don't want to eat it.
So I guess the problem really with cottage cheese is some people don't like the texture. So by whipping it, you can make it creamy, I guess. I'm going to try it. I have some at home, and I have an immersion blender. I shall try this tonight. and
That
report
video,
back.
though, has something that I've been noticing a lot on TikTok and Instagram Reels and stuff like that. It's like videos that say something and they don't actually do the thing.
There's
in the
nothing
video.
there.
Yeah. Like,
It's
that
just-
is
Well,
happening
you
so
know
much now.
why they pop off because then the comments are full of people being like, well, what's the thing? And
Right.
that is engagement, and it boosts the post
yeah.
and feeds.
Yeah,
This
it's
is the
the
real
worst,
problem in the
man.
long run with algorithms is that people game them. And then you get, it's already happened on YouTube where the thumbnail, in fact, YouTube just announced a new thumbnail comparator tool to figure out which thumbnail gets the most reaction. And this is
Mr.
exactly
Beast's
what's
art.
wrong. This is exactly what's wrong. Is everybody's playing to the algorithm instead of playing to the audience. Or they're playing games. It's tricks, and it's just not good. And by the way, that's why we suck, because we don't do that. Nobody watches our shows. The names are meaningless. There's no good content here, and they're hours and hours long. And I revel in that. We are not trying to link bait you. We're not trying to trick you into watching. And that's why so few people watch. Oh, and now the Google changelog.
The latest we've ever done.
I forgot the Google changelog. NotebookLM, we mentioned last week it's gone global. Now it has slide support and better ways to fact check. So if you're worried about hallucinations, I actually recommended this to Paul Thurrott earlier because he wanted to do this kind of thing. Microsoft has killed custom GPTs in Copilot, but I said it's free, NotebookLM, and it
sticks closely to the RAG you give it.
Exactly. It
will not answer things past
Yes.
that. It does know how to
Yes.
say, I don't know.
Google has just pushed out 12 useful features for Pixel watches, phones, and tablets. There are a lot of them. I recommend you read the fine story at ZDNet by Artie Beattie.
This is too boring for
Because
Leo.
it's so boring. I couldn't. They have now
Reverse
added
number lookup. Now, how can it do that? Because I used to use reverse number as a reporter all the time, but it doesn't exist anymore.
Well, apparently it does it. Users
But
now
I
can
don't
look up an
understand.
unknown number by doing a reverse search from the call log because Google knows everything, right? You can have the new Gemini Nano AI model on your device, even Pixel 8s and 8a as a developer option. You can summarize and recorder DisplayPort support. Well, that's cool. Pixel watches in June will get car crash detection, better bicycle fall detection, and PayPal in your wallet. And if you have a Pixel tablet, and I think I am the only one who does, there are some small but useful doorbell notification features.
Small but useful.
That's your Google change.
And you thought that Apple was so smart.
No, finally.
Benito just made an editorial
Yeah,
decision.
that's it. It's over. Goodbye.
Benito's like, we're calling it.
We're calling it. 5 o'clock. Time to go home. Thank you, everybody, for watching the show. Despite the fact that we have done no hacks to grow our audience, we just have this club. It's $7. Do what you can to support us. We appreciate it. Jeff Jarvis is officially the emeritus now director of the Town Knight Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York, and is perhaps going back to Sacramento to get those numbskulls up there in the assembly to change their mind.
We try to help. We try.
On the so-called Journalism Protection Act. Thank you, Jeff, for fighting the good fight. We appreciate it. Even though you won't be able to lie down on the way out. Thank you, Paris Martineau at The Information. She's working on something big. But before she does, a quick trip to see a movie at her favorite movie theater. Why not?
Why not?
Have a mystery bucket of gummies on me.
I shall.
Yum, yum, yum. Appreciate your support and continued tolerance. Thank you to all of our club members who make this show possible. If you're not a member, twit.tv/clubtwit.
Bless you all.
Bless
Every
you all.
one of you.
Thank you also to our great sponsors and the people who help put this show together. You hear Benito Gonzalez from time to time, our producer and technical director, John Slanina, our studio director, Burke McQuinn, who keeps the equipment running, and Anthony Nielsen, our AI guru. Our executive producer, of course, is my beautiful wife, Lisa Laporte. We will do this show again next Wednesday at about 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. Watch it live on YouTube, youtube.com/twit/live, or after the fact on our website, twit.tv/twig. There is a YouTube channel for This Week in Google. You can watch the edited shows after the fact, video. And subscribe to audio or video in your favorite podcast client. That way you'll get it automatically the minute it's available. If you know anybody who wants to advertise on our shows, please have them email advertise@twit.tv. That is another way you can help us out. You can also tell your friends. There's this crazy show. They don't care if you watch or listen, but you should, because it's good. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.